Hello and welcome to the Live Reality Game Podcast. My name is Steven, and I'm so excited here to talk to the last of the Sus Squad, the man with impeccable taste in t-shirt and t-shirt design. Joining us today, we have Luke, the runner-up to the season. Luke, how are you doing?
I'm good. You could have just said, "Hey, I'd like to introduce you to the best of everyone else," like the first loser, the one that was so close to taking the crown.
The
But
only other player to suss out the mole this season, and then
right,
figure it was Emily. Like that's achievement. It was just us.
yeah, it was you and me, the room from hell, literally.
Hey, I mean, we slept in it.
um, According to you, I slept in it. Like I do snore. So.
That's my favorite part. Is so for viewers or listeners, Luke and I, were in the third floor bedroom with Brienne, and so that room was not air conditioned well. Now there was a fan, and my favorite thing was watching Luke precariously angle said fan on a chair to try to aim the fan at the top bunk. I think you made it work.
Yeah, I'm like, I hope no one from OSHA is watching this because, like, it was like the rocking chair too. It wasn't like a steady chair, and then I had the fan angled there with something propped under it, so I could just have one little sheet on top of me as I lay awake, wondering who the mole was.
You have fans, Santi's popping in to say
Oh,
that
no,
you
no,
are the
no.
best.
I am a bigger fan of Santi, the youngin, by 1 week in our birth history. That I get that 1 week over him of life, and he is the best. Love him, rooting for him. I hope he wins whatever game he's playing at this moment. That he has this in on the side because I'm sure he's playing a mini right now.
So you're wearing a Sasquatch shirt representing the best coalition of our season, right?
Oh wait, was the Sus Squad a coalition?
What, was it not a coalition?
I don't know. Like, obviously, it was a coalition, but okay. So, like, minute 2 in the house. Like, okay, you're just gonna be gone. So this is after we did the little everyone have a drink of wine from Luke while we were waiting on like the last half, and you went upstairs, and Josh immediately has verbal diarrhea, and he's like, "I know you're not the mole. You know I'm not the mole. Aaron, you know I'm not the mole, and I'm going to swear in my mother about this. So let's form this alliance." And I'm like, okay. But I'm like, well, there went my whole plan where I'm thinking they're like, okay, I'm going to be suspicious, but I'm going to not be too suspicious. And Josh, right away, minute 1's like, I know you're not the mole. There's no way you're the mole. And I can't be like,
this is all pregame. Like, everything, like you
yeah,
haven't even seen anything yet.
We haven't done anything. He is already like clocking that tea, and he is just like, you are no way the mole. And he's just coming right up to me and saying all this. And I'm like, well, I trust Josh that he isn't the mole, but I don't trust Josh in any strategy he's about to throw out after that. And like, it's so funny when you watch the clip of us. So again, scene for the viewers who don't realize, we filmed this after we had the conversation because we had this whole conversation. And Tim is like, okay, that was good. Now we got to do this again and get this all on film. And as you all know, I am a terrible actor. So I have to be like, oh, hey, guys, we're randomly sitting on this couch. Do you have something you want to say? And Tim cut that part out, apparently. And then we went through the whole conversation again. And so then I'm on my phone, shout out to Chat AI, looking up names for what this alliance coalition could be. But on the edit, it looks like I am so bored while Josh is like spilling his heart out. Like Josh is like, oh, I trust you and I swear. And I'm just staring at my phone intently. And I'm like, yep, yep, trust. Oh, what do you all think about the Sus Squad?
So you're saying ChatGPT was helpful inspiration for the name of your coalition?
Well, I wrote down, I came up with 10 ideas because you always ask Chat to come up with multiple ideas. Mm-hmm. And so that was the one that stuck and everyone liked it. And then we milked each other's thumbs like butter. And then the game started and I was no longer part of the Sus Squad, as we will get to.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So one thing, because it is, first of all, I did not know that scene was pre-recorded. Granted, maybe this is me not being as the most attentive viewer, but I just took it as like, wow, like Tim had good timing getting this on camera.
Oh no, It was okay. That was a great conversation. Let's go ahead and do that all again. Okay. And we had a little script in front of us. Like, Aaron had to be like, I trust you. Josh was like, I swear on my mother. And I'm like, I like potatoes or something stupid to disarm whatever Josh was saying because I wasn't going to swear on anything, especially pregame, especially when part of your strategy as the mole is to come off a little sus or not the mole. I'm not the mole. And for those of you that didn't watch, I'm not really the mole. Is come off a little
Is
sus.
he? We're not sure.
Yeah. And I don't want to just come in flying where, oh, by the way, everyone, not the mole, very clearly. I have a coalition with Josh and Aaron, who also is a social butterfly, and we'll get into it. Just keep going. Let's just tell
let's backtrack a little bit. From what I can tell, you are a big fan of the mole.
So, spoiler, I give a lot of energies for things I'm good at that I'm terrible at, like trivia. Like I give a lot of trivia vibes and I'm god awful. I definitely spent the time planning what I wanted to do as a player and with the shirts. And again, behind the scenes, Steven is one of the few players who actually knew every shirt before it came out because I had showed them to him in our room. Because when I'm excited about something, apparently I can't keep it a secret, but you still thought I was the mole, even like, hey, Steven, look at my exact lineup for the week. Yeah, so I love the American versions, but it was about a year ago. Jamie, I don't know if you are.
Oh yeah, we know Jamie.
We know Jamie. Jamie,
who is the mole, the live game?
Who was posting Who is the Mole, the online game, and I don't know if it came across my feed and I just wanted to play, but I played their online game, and they're in Spencer's and they do an amazing job. And next thing I know, I'm like addicted to the mole. So I am like looking for every mole type game out there. I am playing every live version. I applied for every live version. I looked at every online version. I watched Subversion. I watched all of the Mole Ohio and predicted like who's the mole, who do I think's the mole. But ironically, I don't think I ever watched the old days, the Anderson Cooper days. So I could come on here. I watched Aaron's interview, and I'm just like, oh my god, there's so much aspect to the mole that I think about this game differently. Where he's like, oh, I counted this as the mole numbers, and here's the clues I was looking for, and no, none of that. I was going on vibes.
Yeah, no, it was like when Aaron was describing like all of the thought he had coming in the game, I was like, oh, I wasn't thinking about any of that. Maybe I should have been thinking about that. I don't know.
And here I am. I'm the one that's like, okay, I need to take Tim's mole guide and then just take that first page and change the word to production guide and leave a piece of that in the bathroom that he kept using the pronoun him for the mole, and just leave that in the bathroom and see what happens. Like, these are things I thought of before the game. Yeah. And so your whole postcard thing, not like, oh my God, gasping to me. I was like, yeah, I was thinking similar ideas. Like,
Steven, my favorite moments. You're just like, I get to code this in seconds.
I'm like, Steven's brain did what my brain walked so your brain could run. Because I was like, look at all these ideas I had. Like, I planned on having a whole press conference to explain why I failed the challenge, and then saying I will be taking no questions, but the mole is around. Like, I had plans on gimmicks and things to do, but it just, some of those did not come to fruition and were not as natural as they could be. So am I a fan of the mole? Yes. Am I a fan of the old mole? No. I'm glad I answered your question succinctly. Can you imagine interviewing me for like an LRG and ORG? It's like, I think there was an interview I had the other day. I'm like, I'm not going to answer the question you asked me. I'm going to instead go on a rant about this.
Perfect. So you apply for the game. Did you want to be the mole, or were you happy, or did you prefer being an agent?
I wanted to be the mole, but I didn't mind being the agent. I see advantages and disadvantages to both. I think it has been clocked very well on the internet that my mole game is very similar to my player game. So I don't feel like there's much I have to do differently in either, but I think I wanted to be the mole originally. Emily obviously was picked because of her love letter, but Yeah, no, I think I'm pretty disarming. I think that I'm the phrase I used the other day is I am competently incompetent or confidently incompetent. Like there are things that I think I'm really good at that it turns out I'm incompetent at. So it's
And that's the joy of the TV show, where like you will legitimately try and still fail. Everyone's like mall behavior, like sorry.
well, I'll be confirmation bias too, because you're like, I think Steven's the mole. Did you see the way that he slowly put the little things on the poster board? That is very clearly mole behavior. And you're like, is it really though?
Did it matter?
So going to how I prepared, like I said, I watched every season. I watched how every mole played. Matt, who was the mole a couple seasons ago, is on production for Survivor Indiana. So he and I had talked about the game. Tyler, who played the game as a production member, is actually the host of Survivor Indiana. He's played. So I had my feelers out for how the game should be played. Did that all come into fruition? I don't know, but I definitely put a lot of thought into the game. And one advantage about driving out there, and I know you flew, was me spending the whole drive going, this is what I'm going to do. This is my thought. This is who I am. Just be your authentic self. Have fun. And if you screw things up, who cares? Who cares? Like, just go for it. So, yeah.
The t-shirts. All right. Like, so talk to me about those. And would you have worn the shirts if you're the mole as well?
Yeah, I think I would have.
Okay, that's what I was figuring. I was like, man, I think Luke would have done this no matter if he was the mole or not. So therefore, I'm just like stuck focusing on these t-shirts. There's no good will come from stressing about it. But here I am.
But I do think the t-shirts did exactly what you wanted. I mean, you had people like Noah that were like, cute, but he's not fooling anyone. And people like Joe that were like, the t-shirts, I just can't get past the t-shirts. So, I mean, yeah, I would do it both ways. I was really excited at the idea. And so when you went to Amazon and you typed in mole t-shirts and you're like, ooh, not a mole, like that one. Don't trust me, I'm the mole. Love that one. Like mole problems. And I think I told you while I was there, again, you had the behind the scenes says, I wish there had been more of like the, oh, a surprise, I am the mole type t-shirts or things. But again, one clue that I think I gave myself away on is I can't plan a 4-day wardrobe and have the big reveal on day 4 if I'm not there on day 4. So it's like, so yeah. I definitely had my bigger reveals, I think, earlier in the week. And I think the chemistry related ones were kind of a letdown on Sunday. They're like, really, Luke, holy moly, with the chemistry thing. Cute, but
I liked it.
Cute, but not really proving not the surprise I was the mole the whole time that we were all waiting on. So.
Was there anything else you had strategized or planned on that didn't make it into the game?
So we talked about some of those ideas. I wanted to do more with the puppet, but once I was out there, I felt like the puppet was a little too gimmicky. And I felt like, oh my God, they're going to kill this guy on day 4 if he's still holding that puppet in his hand. Because I had things like last night, I had left the mole puppet in Emily's bed. I had planned on doing stuff like that all week, or like putting like a little sign that says, I know you're the mole with the puppet, and just placing it in some random spots, or just some puppet strategy that was going to like annoy but yet make people paranoid. I had planned on using props a little bit more in that way. If that makes sense.
Oh, I love that. That would have been hilarious if just the little mole kept traveling around with different little signs and notes on it.
Yeah, I definitely had a lot more puppet gimmicks in my head that I wanted to try to disarm. Like I said, I just see that whole press conference where it's me and the mole, and I'm like, the mole has nothing to say. I will
I'll take any questions on his behalf.
Yeah, I'll be taking any questions. Yeah, so I was really, yeah. And so one thing, and I'm not gonna lie, I spent a lot of time looking up is what are disarming things that I could do that would be fun, that would be spontaneous in the mole game, that would be funny, gimmicky, but would also make people wonder. And yes, did I use chat AI a little bit for that too? Absolutely. And so I had been reading a lot of things to do it that way. So it was like I was trying to use my humor more as a strategy and not as a, hey, this guy's just here to have a fun time. but also, hey, this guy is here to have a fun time. So I did have, it wasn't nuanced that it wasn't unplanned that I was going to be the way I was, if that makes sense. It was definitely a
Well,
plan.
I like the mole puppet coming out day 4 and being there for another Josh Meltdown. I thought I enjoyed the use of it.
Oh, I think one of my favorite clips is when you're using the mole puppet and you just completely gave up on the voice halfway through.
It's hard. I don't do falsetto well.
I mean, like, I wonder, and if Tim had thought about it ahead of time, if one of the questions on our quiz would have been, who was holding the mole puppet before this different thing? Because that mole puppet got so much traffic on that last day. It was in like
It was the
everybody's
perfect
hands.
prop to break out.
I mean, that mole had more coalitions than I think anybody else in that game that last day. Because it had been in Emily's bed, it had been in Josh's face. I mean, so that last morning I was sitting up doing my work at the table with my coffee, and Emily comes, you come down with the puppet, and I'm like, oh, you were up, and Emily's like, yeah, I gave Steven the puppet, and I'm like, that puppet went everywhere.
So on day 1, when you arrive at the house, right, you arrived pretty early, and as you kind of watched the cast come in, was there anyone you recognized or knew beforehand?
So actually knew ahead of time would be Aaron with an A and Aaron with an E. Though that was the first time I had met Aaron with an E, but Aaron with an A, he is wrong. We drank to the world ending of an online game. There was an online game in the 2020s while everyone was locked down, and everyone probably knows what game that was. And the night that game got canceled was the first meetup I ever had with Aaron at an Applebee's in Richmond, Indiana. And we were sitting there, and all the texts and Twitters and all that started to fly while we were there. And we're like, well, this was fun. This online community, as it just, mirror my God, on the Titanic just sunk. And then I knew Erin with an E. She had been the 5th place person in a Vanquish Traders game that was for celebrities. And I was the day 2 of that game where I was the 5th place person. And so we were 5th place buddies. And so we had talked online ahead of time. But even when she got there, I was like, Erin? Because it was taking a minute to put profile picture with face.
Yes.
Now, that being said, I am a professional ORG, LRG lurker. I don't leave a lot of comments, but I do watch the trash ORGs, the real ORGs, the great ORGs. Shout out to Triumph right now, where I'm in the comments watching that, even though you all eliminated Jennifer and you're all terrible people, but I still hope you win. So I knew of Josh right away. I saw him and I go, I know who you are. I'm trying to place a name. What do I know you from? I knew Emily from that thing in 20. Like I knew who she was. I just couldn't place like how. Noah and I were Facebook friends. Where did that happen? Did he friend me? Did I friend him? Who knows? But we were Facebook friends, and so I know Noah. Like it's just I knew of people, but I don't think the only 2 people I knew in person, the only person I knew in person was Aaron, and the only person I actually had real conversations with that I felt like on a different level with Aaron and Aaron. So, which we can talk about in a minute.
Now, as people kind of arrive, you kind of already talked about the scene where the sus squad forms and how long it lasted to tell us. Anything else before the game begins you want to mention?
The smoke alarm beeping was a good team building activity. It also made it into the first episode where I had a lot of friends reach out and go, that smoke alarm beep, way to the good editing or whatever. But the fact that we went looking everywhere for the smoke alarm, that was fun. And then of course, Noah's wine that he brought was amazing. And sorry, Mom, if you're watching this, or my cousin. But I am kind of into enjoying beverages. And so that was a moment that it was just great greeting people and sharing wine and having fun.
So when the game begins, we're put into groups of 3. And you are in, I don't have my notebook, so I don't remember exactly. You're in the group with Joe and Riley. You were kind of the command central group where with the crossword, where everyone's going to be relaying you this information. Talk me through the challenge. How was it and what stood out to you early on?
So it took me exactly 0.01 seconds to go from being the saboteur to bringing my competitive side out. I just want to do well in challenges. I think it's just a natural thing about me. And so immediately I'm like, oh, let's solve this crossword. I got this. This is 9. This is this. Like, Tim edited out a lot of things that I was like, oh, it's this next. It's this next. While we were sitting there. And I think Joe was very motivated. I was very motivated. And Riley, once he got past his, I forgot to spell things, one mistake, he was just competitive. So we're all in there doing great. I can't believe, I think walkie-talkies need to be introduced into every mole game, because people will just sabotage nonstop with that. But the first challenge itself, I felt very solid with the other two. And I'm like, well, they're not the mole. And I have no idea who the mole is or who any sabotage is, because I know it's not these two. And, oh, by the way, the young girl group, they're the ones that stuck out in my head as the most sus from being in command center. I just was like, I was confused why Lachey couldn't remember her favorite author, Emily rambling on about whatever. That was the group that I'm like, okay, they're sabotaging, where I felt like the other two groups, there was miscommunication and process issues, but nothing stood out in my head where I was like, okay, they're sabotaging. I worked at camp for a number of years with a walkie-talkie, and the same walkie-talkie conversations we were having there were exactly the same. Where someone would come in and go, does anyone have eyes on pack 337? And somebody else would respond, hi, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wait, can we stick to the conversation? So I'm very used to that type of radio jargon, but again, the way my body naturally handles excitement and stress, I look stressed, I look panicked. But to me, I'm just having a good time. So yeah, if you're looking for a good time for someone who's stressed and panicked, the oldest member of the Sus Squad is available. But so like, I am very just naturally stressed as a person. So what you saw on TV is me, but I wouldn't say that I was panicked and my brain wasn't that. I was just like, oh yeah, they're just being stupid. And I'm just going to be like, Jesus Christ, like, figure it out. And that was what I said a lot in that challenge.
The second challenge of that round is where we're now groups of 4 with radios. And correct me if I'm wrong, you're in a group with Joe, you're in a group with Lachey, and who else is in your group?
One more. You can do it, Steven, the winner.
Not Emily. I know she's not.
No, it was Noah. Good guess. Good guess. And right away, Joe and I, see, this is more behind the scenes. And I do have a really good conversational memory. Am I observant? Heck no. But I can remember a conversation. This has not come up in any interview or any conversation. The first thing Joe and I do when we get into that room is we start drawing the shapes on the paper next to us. And they were like, you're not supposed to write. And we're like, we're not writing, we're drawing. So they had to like get clarification. So then in my, let's begin this Luke's just quirky personality, I start moving pool balls. And you can see this in the video to kind of line up where the columns and rows are. This has no value. But we're like, ooh, this is a visual that makes sense. So then next thing you know, Joe and I are like straightening these pool balls at perfect angles to fit this perfect grid. And so then they get on the radio and they're like, I don't even remember the cards because this never came up on a quiz, spoiler, but let's just say the black pawn. They come on the radio, black pawn. And what's Lachey do? She grabs the black pawn and immediately puts it on our grid. And I'm like, wait, we're supposed to have this memorized. And she's like, oh, and she puts it back. And so between that and the favorite author thing, I immediately was like, okay, Lachey, you're being Josh. I get it. You're like going over the top. You're trying to show everybody that you're sabotaging. We get it. Cool beans. And that was like my Lachey spark. And it's interesting that was a completely wrong read immediately. But I was like, I get it, Lachey. Too much.
What was your reaction to the outcome of this challenge where we win no money, every group messed up?
Well, two things. Number one, we were in the room where we ran out of time when we were describing.
Mhm.
So, oh well, like I wasn't shocked on that. And then the fact that we didn't get any, I was like, oh, the mole sabotaged as well as Josh, wherever Josh is. He sabotaged. We got it.
Josh
It
hasn't even like had his debut yet. The Josh stuff will come soon.
But I'm like, was this post tube or pre tube where we had the second
I
thing?
think it is post tube. So we get the tube and then we do that next challenge,
Yeah, so
right?
that's why I'm like, okay, Josh sabotaged somewhere. Okay, the actual mole sabotaged. Okay, whatever. And then I was really kind of shocked at how, and this is all presenting, how Brienne presented and how Noah presented their frustration
Mhm.
about this challenge. I think Aaron was involved in that a little bit too. And I'm like, why are we mad? Like, this is a game, and what do you know? Someone screwed up. Who saw
Mhm.
that coming? This is fun because now we have puzzle pieces to get to. Because if we had all gotten money there, it'd be like, all right, no puzzle pieces, no information. But then you get to
Yeah.
sit there and you get to reevaluate your room, and you go, okay, let me go back to that room. Who had the walkie-talkie? Who was sabotaging? Was there someone sabotaging in my room? Okay, I'm clearing my room, but I've already cleared Joe and Riley. Okay, I've already narrowed it down to this whole second half of the cast in one challenge. That doesn't seem logical. So it was a lot of fun puzzle pieces. I think the more mistakes there were, the more puzzles that
Yeah.
you're adding to it versus if we had all just solved that challenge. Okay, Mole didn't want to play this round, or but it would have been the Mole because again, I would say a normal strategy. I don't think everyone does it, but the normal strategy is someone's going to try to throw sus on themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And it's just kind of winnowing out what is like true emotional actions versus a player disguising themselves. And that's the challenge of the game is discerning what's what.
yeah, and that's what I really like about the mole is the math behind it and the
Mhm.
logic puzzle behind it because you're going, okay, yeah, these people made these moves, but are they the mole? And I think one of the unique ways I view the game is I don't think it is always a challenge. It's yes, if you're a viewer, you watch the challenge and you go, this is what who did that, but you also want to watch how people react in the challenges. You want to talk about how people react after the challenges and so
Mhm.
forth. And I think that gives you a lot more information than, oh, someone accidentally touched a walkie-talkie at the wrong time, you know? So that's what I thought.
So let's go back to the whole tube thing, right? Each player is given a tube, and all we're told is if you open it, there will be consequences. And Josh, as you mentioned, is just like, I'm opening it now, and spends 10 minutes struggling and finally
See,
gets it open.
again, blame the edit. No, Luke says, shouldn't we all just open the tubes now and just get it out of the game?
Mhm.
That's what Luke says. And Josh perks up like a little child that just found out Santa was in the house and is like, wait, Luke might do this with me? We're going to open tubes together. Look, we're already in the sus squad. We are already had this conversation where I swore on my mom and Luke played on his phone. I am in with this guy and he is looking at me dead on in the eye, like, let's open these tubes together. And I'm like, oh, I just want to see if you'll do it. And again, just assumes that I was kind of on Josh's team on this one, where I assumed an exemption was at play, but we all
Mhm.
would lose $5 or something dumb like that, but something that was good for that two person, but bad for everybody else, or introducing another aspect of chaos in the game, which again adds puzzle to me, which just makes it fun. So I was kind of excited about the idea of opening the tube, which is why it's so funny that my tube fell out of my pocket. I think that's what I'm going with. I either just left it there or it fell out. Um, which there's another story there too, but for Lachey to grab my tube and hide it, and then I not have my tube, I'm like, oh, um,
It works.
well, I was going to open it, but now I don't want to open it, and now it's gone. And I had so many opportunities. Like I looked right at Erin's tube; it was sitting with an E on her books, and I'm like, do I just grab this one
Oh, you
and
should
call it
have.
a day?
Well, no,
And
it's
but my
not your
brain
money.
went,
Not
I
your money.
was so vocal about advertising that my tube was missing and completely blaming Josh that I felt like, oh, as soon as I had Aaron's tube, I was like, oh, I found it. And Aaron would be like, wait, where'd mine go? Like it was like, oh, that's obviously Luke. And again, I think good mole strategy, and I could be wrong, is you don't want to be so out there that
Mhm.
everyone's like he's the mole. Like Danny forgets her tube and everyone thinks it's Danny. So Luke steals Aaron's tube. Everyone thinks it's Luke, and
Well, you steal it, but don't tell anyone. And so now
yeah,
you
but
and
Aaron would know right away. Oh, she's missing her tube. Oh, and Luke magically has his the next
well, no,
morning.
you don't reveal it. You steal it, then you hide it somewhere, right? So now
I
you
mean, not
and her
all
both.
of us are professional dossier hiders, Steven. So, like,
Fair. Okay, so talking about
which should we talk about? Because on that note, I think that is where I start to just break off from Josh naturally, is
really.
because I really want to work with people that were giving the information, and Josh was just helpless at that point
Hmm.
because he didn't have the dossier. So he's overcopying Aaron's, which I don't know if I would have let him do that either. So I'm kind of excited that Aaron just grabbed that for the team. But he needed Aaron for the information. Aaron didn't need him. And I sure as heck didn't need him because he wasn't getting the information because Aaron had it all. So
Hmm.
I kind of like, oh, maybe Josh isn't the best ally here as I go forward in a coalition. And I heard your interview with him where you're like, well, maybe if other people had presented, I might have gone that direction. But for me, it was really, oh, Josh doesn't have information to give me
Yeah.
here. And so I like that he's like, oh, the sus squad, we all decided to go in on Danny, Brienne, or Kate, or Jimmy, or someone else I've never heard of. But I personally never remember giving that information. Like, oh yes, sus squad on 3, 1, 2, 3. This is who we're doing. So I think it's an honor to be nominated, but I would say that your perception of me and the sus squad was a little bit more accurate than I think the edit was.
Hmm.
Like, I just don't think I was really in it as much as you would think.
I mean, I, I am amazed. Like me taking Josh's dossier just caused so much weird ripple effects in this game. I think.
Yeah, I
It's like,
agree. And also, Josh doesn't have the memory for facts and figures, even though he's an accountant, allegedly.
hey, I mean,
But
as an accountant, I can tell you, I can do Excel. Excel can do all the math for me.
But yeah, I just once his dossier was gone, it was like, and then we were sitting there quizzing each other all night. He just seemed so uninterested in it. Like I think you described it as a quiz show that I
Mhm.
was running in there, but that's just how I learn. And I'm like, I'm not going to read these over and over again. People just quiz me and make sure I know it.
Mhm.
And Josh just seemed so uninterested, whereas Riley seemed also slightly uninterested. And it was really Aaron, you, Brienne that were like, okay, okay.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm going to work with Brienne, Steven, Aaron somehow. And so it really gets interesting from my perception here is Josh kept mentioning, oh, I like to have a roommate on these things because that's where I really spread all my information. I'm like, great, Josh. I'm going to find this bed up in hell on the 3rd floor. And look, here are all these beds. It'll be great. We can be roommates and you can tell me your theories to all nights. No, I'm going to sleep with Riley in the 4th floor. Oh, Josh, I thought you mentioned to me at least 5 times in the last 10 minutes that you really like having a roommate for the things as someone you can really trust and work with. Here, there are 4 beds open up here. Okay, I'm going to sleep with Riley on the 1st floor. Okay, Josh. And so
Dude,
that
much like
night,
Survivor, bed politics kind of was a thing in our game. With like the people who you shared a room with, or people you just talked to, and kind of had these more natural connections that you were able to leverage.
and I tried, and I just think it was you and Brienne not trusting each other as much. But that first night, I was trying. I was like, I think this. And you both like, uh-huh.
And that's probably on me for just being like really like close guarded, probably more than I likely should have been in the game. I mean, I remember like I remember having those conversations. Like we had two conversations. There wasn't like us kind of like yes together, the 3 of us as a coalition. There wasn't something like that. And maybe if like one of us had pitched like, hey, the 3 of us should work together as a team and be a coalition. Like I don't think we ever got to that stage in the conversation.
No, because that was definitely going to be the next day's conversation, and I was trying to have it with Brienne at times. You and I never really had it, but it was
Mhm.
just funny because that night I'm like, "Hey, here's what I'm thinking now." Good night. Uh, like I remember literally saying out loud, "I'm pretty sure Aaron's not the mole," referencing the Sus Squad conversation, knowing all I knew about him and Josh. Brienne, I don't know if that's true yet. You, I don't know. And I'm like, okay. There went that attempt. Good roommate conversation. And for the record, for those viewers at home, I did not have the fan on me yet at this point. This was a
That was
day
night
two.
two.
Day two. So I am just lying, like I'm swimming in my old sweat up on top, doing nothing but spiraling over these last two challenges with the two people in the room that are like, yep, So I'm like, I'm going through every challenge, and I woke up and I said, I cannot believe I was blinded. Riley is the mole.
What brought you to that conclusion?
Okay. Again, it was a little bit of the disinterested when studying.
Mm-hmm.
It was the misspelling of the word in the challenge. It was him being in the room that kind of screwed up the passing around. And I go, wow, what a really good subtle mole Riley has been. And really took me off the scent. And so I went into that first quiz smiling. I was like, I'm going to split on Riley. I'm going to split on the young females. I kind of was out on you. I was kind of out on Brienne. I was kind of out on Josh and Aaron. So I'm like, I'm just going to split on everybody else, but specifically in my head, young females and Riley.
Mm.
And Riley goes home.
Which, is great for your games. Like, okay, the person I was suspecting is gone. Time to recalibrate.
Yeah, and I just am like, okay, that's funny. I'm like, that is the funniest thing that's happened. Part of me will eat this Uncrustable. For all those that watch this stuff to watch people eat, enjoy.
This is good. This is good content that we need to bring into the LRG space.
Mm-hmm. I don't care. I don't have to turn off the camera. I don't care.
So Riley goes out. This kind of begins our second round, which we're going to kick off with a miniature golf adventure. And we're told that we need our best and worst golfer, and you are able to navigate your way to being the worst golfer of the group.
For the record, I am the worst golfer of the group. And I think we as a team did a poor job here. We probably should have said, oh, I bet they have to golf. Why don't we pick two of our best golfers and let them go have fun? But
I mean, I honestly, from watching the episode back, you and Brienne seem like you do the best job to your ability with sinking the shots. Like I look at both of them like they look like they both tried their best.
And I'm regretting of that. Because what I think I should have done is been worse than I am. But no, I was trying to prove that I was listening and learning as a bad golfer.
Well, except like the problem is none of us were able to see you play. Like the only person who was seen you is Brienne, and that required her to then share with everyone else, hey, Luke sucked.
And I think Brienne and I needed a conversation. We kind of had one, but we needed one that said, what are we telling everybody else? And what we told everyone else is we were really collaborative. We did our best. And that's pretty accurate. And I think what the video shows is very accurate on that. But what we should have had, what was missing was that third conversation of, okay, we need to say we screwed up the golfing. You mentioned you screwed up. I'll mention you screwed up. We'll make it subtle. And that should have, again, been the start of that coalition that I was looking at with the hot as hell bedroom. But instead, I was like, oh, I didn't do as terrible as I thought I would. We had to re-putt 500 times because it would be like, you have 4 shots left. Is that each or is that by yourselves?
Yeah.
We don't know. We're going to make it the magic of editing. So we're just going to say you each have 3 shots. And then Brienne, I'm going to give her props. I hope you're watching this. She was always able to manipulate John and Tim to giving more shots than they had just claimed we had. So John would be like, you have exactly 2 shots left. And Brienne's like, okay, so to a person, Luke just went. That one doesn't count, right? Okay, so we have 4 shots. Oh, okay. And we would do 4 shots. And then Tim would come back and go, oh, no, that was just 2 total. And John and Brienne, they'd be like, oh, they already did it. We'll just count it. And then we would have this like conversation so many times while we're golfing that I couldn't tell you. If anything, Brienne got us money in the pot right here. And it's a subtle thing that nobody, I think, caught from that because it was just me and her and John. But let's go ahead and also mention this is round 1 of what the heck, Aaron? Mycology? How are you missing? Like, I am shouting the answer like from where I am standing. Like that's easy. It's mushrooms. Apparently, for the first time ever, a Goebbels' voice was so quiet that no one could hear it. Whereas my neighbor right now is probably irritated as fuck at me right now. But at that moment, even she should have heard in the background, shroom, shroom. But instead, Aaron's like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. And then meanwhile, Josh gets his question right. Emily gets her question right. Danny misses Cincinnati chili.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Danny's not from Cincinnati. I'm not from Cincinnati. I didn't know the Cincinnati chili answer, but of course I'm not a food critic, but you get the point. Like I like whiskey, but don't ask me about another whiskey brand other than Ireland because I go to the Irish pub up here. Don't like I'm not surprised that Danny missed that. In fact, I'm actually surprised more people got their questions right than I was expecting in that challenge. But yeah, we definitely were more of a let's just rock paper scissors and give whoever here.
Yeah, so Lachey gets the literature question right. Joe gets the movie question right. He's the big winner for the round because he gets like 3 strokes out of that.
Which was
Aaron,
6 because it was 3 each. Magic of editing.
Aaron misses the music question. I miss the history question. I think Noah misses the politics question. But yeah, I think the big ones for everyone was like for me it was like Danny blowing it and Aaron blowing it. Like what the heck?
Well, everyone was all Danny because of the tube, and that's my takeaway from the game is everything that you think you subtly notice that no one else does, everyone noticed it, and everyone thinks the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, ooh, Josh and I are taking a lot of flack for this tube thing, but Danny sure isn't getting any of that. Interesting. And oh, Danny must be sus. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, Danny's the mole, Danny's the mole, Danny's the mole. And I'm like, okay, that wasn't just a thought I had. Okay, interesting.
So after mini golf, we have lunch, and then we have the chain breaking.
No, so after mini golf, we had Mexican food, and there were only 2 people that had a margarita. Who were they, Steven? See, I want to know how the winner made it to the end without these little tidbits.
Wasn't me, wasn't Aaron, wasn't Lachey. These are the people I'm sitting next to and I'm paying attention to the meal. Aaron went around and recorded everything. Were you recording everyone's meals and drink choices too?
Absolutely not, but I know the 2 people that had a margarita.
Was because I can't remember if you were because I know you and Emily had a conversation and one of you got it, one of you didn't, and guilt tripped the other for that. See,
disagree, Steven. Luke and Emily were the 2 people that had the margarita.
Oh, both of you were okay.
Yeah. So if you remember, Steven, I assume as the person that won the game with the most questions right about the mole, the car ride to the golf place had a very interesting 3 in it. Do you remember who those 3 people were?
Was I in there with the 2 of you?
Yep, it was you, me, and Emily.
Okay.
So again, the start of the Luke, Emily, Steven coalition that never existed. But you'll find the 3 of us come up together in the game quite often.
That is true.
And it started in this car ride. And then me and Emily, of course, then having the margarita because we were the only 2. Emily's like, I'm the mole. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, I function half the time anyway. I'll be fine. It's just one. And so we get back from Mexican food. And as you were saying, we go to this like circle chain event where we were all chained to this table. And who yelled out that this is going to be puzzle related? Do you remember?
I'm pretty sure it was Emily who pushed that narrative.
Like, okay, we're going to do puzzles here. And I'm like, sure we are. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, if we want to nominate puzzle people, I'm a puzzle person.
But Noah was having such a Josh breakdown at that point about Josh's selfishness and how we always put people in positions of power that are just going to ruin it, and we need to let other people have the fun things. I'm like, I did just mini golf. I'll just go ahead and sit this one out here in the back, and
I think everyone else
like
Danny and Josh. That's the 2 people who went out of the room, and I think that was like we really shouldn't have done that. Nothing good was going to come of that.
But yeah, Noah was definitely having a Josh meltdown there, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit in the back here and let everyone else argue about who's going, and then act dumbfounded when whatever happens. Because if you remember, because I know again you were the winner, so you remember all these details. They on the whiteboard had the wrong number
Oh yeah.
of how many people were left, and all of a sudden John just goes, "Oh, the game's over. My bad. Sorry, I missed my
We went from
text."
like 2 to 0. We're like, what just happened?
He was like, "Oh, our bad. The game's over. Good luck. You all lost. Okay, discuss." While we're all still like zip tied to this table, I'm still my one margarita in, trying not to insert myself. And I'm like, okay, that was a fun challenge. But then again, you notice that Aaron with an E did not take the second joke, did not take the second joker, right? Yeah, she just,
Yes.
yeah. And I was like, that's a fun way for us to lose money without drawing suspicion to yourself, Miss Mycologist. Interesting. Interesting, Aaron, with an E.
As well as Emily. Emily also did that. I remember
Yes.
just being so confused, like, but why? Why would they do this?
Well, we are very close to why I ruled Emily out here. We're almost there. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's
So
almost like the next challenge. So Noah has, the last thing he says before he goes is he looks me right in the eye while he's sitting on the ground and goes, "You see your shirt? That's the truth. You're not the mole." And I'm like, oh my God, does everyone like realize I'm not the mole already? So already Josh knows I'm not the mole. Aaron knows I'm not the mole. Stephen and Brianne, if they were having any paying attention or hearing me ramble on who I think the mole is or isn't all night, as they sit there silently, they got to figure out that I'm not the mole. And now Noah is just coming right up to me and is like, "You're not the mole." And I'm like, okay. So my game of sabotage is not coming off as good as I thought it would.
So in the second round, is there any convening of the sus squad, or you with Aaron, or you with Josh?
I don't know. I don't think this is the spot where I yelled out in the main room, "Hey, Josh is having another final two conversation with Aaron in there if anyone wants to go hear it." And Lachey went. I wasn't sure if that was then or not, but it was somewhere between date night and that day where I was sitting there and I'm just like, does everyone not see how often Josh and Aaron are going off in their little circles and talking? They're probably doing talking game right now. And I don't, like I said, I don't think I contributed one opinion about who I thought the mole was, what I was thinking at that time. And if anything, I thought Aaron with an A was a little guarded on telling me what he was thinking. And so there was no sus squad conversation where the three of us were like, "Oh, I saw this, I saw this, I saw this." And if it was just pleasantries. Like there was no real secrets given.
So
Sorry, I'm
you
blowing up
initially,
the sus squad, Josh.
so you thought Riley could have been the mole round one. He's gone. Going into the second quiz, where are your suspicions at?
I think I had a good confession on this too. On I just who isn't it? And like I said, I had already like cleared this certain group of people, like Joe, you, Brianne, Josh, Aaron, and I was trying to go out of my way to split on everybody else that was left. So what is that? That is Lachey, that's Emily, that's Danny, someone else, male. No, I think that might be it. I feel like I'm missing someone very significant. Aaron with an E. And sorry, you are significant. Love you, rooting for you. So I was kind of splitting on there, and I think I accidentally, when I was looking at my notes, split on Aaron with an E and Danny, which is what makes it very interesting going into the next round.
So round three, this is we're broken into groups to go form some fun words with our bodies in a panoramic photo when no one knows actually how to take a panoramic photo, apparently. And you end up in a team with Joe and Danny.
And I was excited about this because Danny was everyone's suspect. And I'm like, I get to actually see what Danny's doing. And I thought it was a great time to just hang out with Danny and maybe form a coalition with Danny. That was my idea because Stephen and Brianne weren't working out. Aaron and Josh weren't working out. Let's go ahead and see what Danny wants to talk about. And I had so much fun in this challenge. And I will go on record that anything you heard out of Joe's mouth is a lie. This entire challenge, he was just into it as we were. We were all having fun. It wasn't until we saw all the other groups' pictures that were like, oh, yeah, obviously the way Luke was holding his letter and Danny was holding hers. And no, we did that stupid funeral picture at least 100 times. I think we took choice 99 because we went, that's the best one we have. And then all of a sudden, because don't you think that if you were there and Luke's F is what's holding you up, you're like, Luke, maybe you make your F a little better. You don't go, it's a little nugget I'm going to keep to myself while I film this 100 more times. Like, you're like, hey, here's an easy solution to solve our problem. And I can go, oh, yeah, maybe I do that. And then all of a sudden we have funeral done. But no one said anything. We were all having so much fun doing it. And the fact that I'm such an idiot when it comes to panoramas, I thought, oh, we had to lie on the ground and then switch over was my first thought.
That would be pretty great. I would love to see that program.
And so we start where I'm lying in the grass, like making an F. And I'm like, oh, is this how it does it? And I think Danny was like, yes, but standing up. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, I mean, I think we had the greatest time doing it. And I, as you find out, sabotaged the challenge. Except for in classic Luke fashion.
Google Maps tests.
In fact, but in classic Luke fashion, had no intention of sabotaging this challenge. I am great at directions. I am a competitive orienteer. I have read maps and compass. I can read a GPS with no drama. What are the odds that I would type in Luther Warren Peace Path and Warren Luther Peace Path, which is 0.3 miles from us, pops up? And Joe, whom I love, is like, because here's some other fun details from the challenge. We had 3 groups. We were put in group 1, 2, and 3. And Danny, me, and Joe, I think somehow we're group 3. But then your group had taken that envelope by the time we got over there. So they're like, fine, just take this group 1. And so Joe thinks that I had such a big mole brain that I organized us getting the wrong envelope, going out to get this specific detail that is unique only to Wilmington, Ohio, in that little spot of where there's Warren Luther Peace Path and Luther Warren Peace Path, that I solved this whole entire challenge. So I'm like, this is so ridiculous. This is so over the top. No way anyone is going to walk away from this challenge going, oh yeah, Luke totally sabotaged that.
But I would have loved if that's actually something you had done and planned.
Like, look at that is, but again, if we had gotten the right envelope to begin with, maybe you could throw the odds out there. But the fact that, and I had no control over what envelope we were grabbing. I think you grabbed it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like I got in the way there. And so for all of those odds to be true and for me to sabotage that, I just think is ridiculous logical thinking. And that, unfortunately, was what I think was my downfall a little bit for the day. And I'm going to go on record and say I have no downfall in this game. I made it to runner-up. There's no other question that I could have answered right. So I'm very happy with the game. But I'm like, my brain, I'm like, no one in the right mind thinks this is a sabotage. So we all in the car need to go ahead and just spread that this sabotage happened because this is ridiculous. And Joe's like, something's fishy in that backseat. Luke's there. Danny's there. They have the address. Like, we even explained it. And Danny, like, I loved her interview. She's like, yeah, Luke's like, yeah, I didn't really sabotage that. And I knew Luke wasn't the mole because why would Luke want that spread? And Joe's like, yeah, Luke wanted that spread? Mole behavior. And so he's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go on a date with Luke. So it's really interesting that I'm like, Joe, if Joe had done one leap of faith there, I was just shocked by it. And in retrospect, I should have been like, oh, yeah, my bad. Phones are hard. I'm old. GPS, but no. So that brings me, Stephen, as you were conducting this interview, to the part where I realized Emily wasn't the mole. So we have the part where we're all supposed to stand around the computer. And we're supposed to guess at the words. And Emily had said out loud, because she was one margarita in, she said, hey, I need to go upstairs and do my makeup. And Tim said, that's fine. And then they call the little group together. And they're like, okay, you need to guess these pictures without Emily. And I've even verified this with Emily after. I go, was that sabotage? And she's like, no, that was legit what happened. Because that's how I read the situation too. They forgot the mole for the person that's supposed to be sabotaging the challenge. And so maybe I like overly metagamed it in my head, but I was like, there is absolutely no way Emily is the mole because they would have remembered Emily to sabotage this here.
And
Like
this is
that made
this is a fun little trend because there's another moment where Emily and Co will be forgetting after a point.
yeah. But that one at least makes a little bit more sense to me. But this one was only Emily, and it was an announcement that I heard very clearly.
I mean, I
And
didn't even real I didn't because I was there as well. I didn't even realize we were missing Emily until Emily comes out. It's like she's like, "Did you all finish?" We're like, "Yeah, you want to hear our words?" It's like, "Whoops."
yeah, and I was like, oh, Emily's gone. Okay, production wouldn't have forgotten them all at this point.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of where I was. And then, as you see in that challenge, I also kind of sat back while people were guessing because I was trying to be like okay, I'm trying to let other people who want to be the star get the
Mhm.
star show. I'm trying to stay a little bit in the back. And as Steven once quoted on the popular show, The Mole Ohio, Luke's one of those people who are just out there and as a character. So I was trying to tone that down trying to tone that down just a little bit
Mhm.
in that challenge. But yeah, Emily being forgotten spiraled my next day. So yeah.
Yeah. Anything of note about the other teams and their photos? What you heard from them?
Well, again, who had the worst photos? Me, Joe, and Danny. And so what did I think? Again, which team got the least amount of points? Oh, that was Aaron, Emily, Aaron, and Lachey, right? No, Lachey was with
Yeah.
you.
Well, she was with me,
Yeah.
Brienne.
Brand. Yeah, so I was like, there again, who's actually taking money away from us right now?
Mhm.
And I know it wasn't me. I know it wasn't Danny. And I knew it wasn't Joe. So I'm like, okay. And your group earned what, two $10 words?
30. We got to both $15 words.
Yeah, two $15 words. So I was like, okay, it's not your group. Okay, it's got to be Danny or Emily, Aaron, and Brienne. And by the way, I'm pretty confident it's not Aaron. I'm pretty confident it's not Brienne. Okay, it's got to be Emily or Aaron, but it can't be. Oh, it can't be Emily because Emily's forgotten about production. So Aaron is the mole. But again, that's my brain, and my brain is also saying, but don't be an idiot and don't go all in.
Mhm.
So cut to Daddy Mac coming in.
So we get to go. We get paired up, and I'm curious. So remind me, would your date have been Riley or would it have been Noah
It
initially?
would have been Riley.
Okay. And so because Riley's out, you are paired up with Joe. But I'm curious, who would have been your ideal date at this point in time?
Um, well, hindsight's 2020, but Joe is great. Let me. I think I would have gone with Danny.
Mhm.
So this is the beginning of conversations where I'm trying to have them with people, but Josh is lurking, trying to hear what I'm saying. So
Mhm.
like there was even a point after the date where we're walking back and Lachey grabs me and goes, Luke, we need to talk. I want to get to know you more. And as we start to talk, Josh starts to, yeah, because this is what I told Lachey. Are you not seeing Josh and Aaron talk all the time? And so I
Mhm.
remember because I even said, hey, Lachey, Josh and Aaron are having a final two conversation if you want to join them. And I thought she was going to go be awkward, but she was like, okay, what are you guys doing? That's really weird. But that's just, again, my snark that came out a lot, especially when we get to that next morning. But yeah, I think Danny is who I wanted to be paired with, probably because Danny had the sus on her, and I was
Mhm.
pretty confident she wasn't the mole. And I figured, okay, let me get in with that and see what was going on. Maybe she can give me some information. Because I had this feeling, and maybe I was wrong because I've heard Danny's interview now, that she was connected with some people that I wasn't with. And I thought maybe we could share some information. But again, what could have happened, you know?
So at the dinner, you and Joe are at a table. I believe Emily and Josh are also at your table. Brienne and Danny are there as well. How was your time with Josh? And anything of note stand out from that dinner?
Oh, so let's talk about this dinner date because Joe has the memory of Josh. Um, we decided we were thinking it was going to be some type of comeback. How well do you know your partner
Mhm.
challenge when you come back? Like if what's Steven's favorite color, and Lachey would have to answer like the newlywed game or whatever. and get the point.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. I love that.
Yeah. So we thought it was going to be some type of or we were throwing out touchy subjects. So I said, here's the deal. If it's touchy subjects, we answer every question with Emily. And he was like, what? Why Emily? And I'm like, because it's the first person I see across the table. Like, I have no logic behind this, but I'm like, hey, let's just make it about Emily. And we do all of our touchy subjects answer about Emily. We're bound to get the point. If we do that as our secret answers, and then overall, there'll at least be 2 there. And he was like, so he was pondering that. And then we started this whole, okay, maybe they want to learn about our jobs, maybe learn this, answer questions. And we went down that complete rabbit hole and had a very, very pleasant night. Probably the best first date I had with anyone that thinks I'm the mole. So it was a really good conversation. I just wish we could have continued that throughout the rest of the weekend. But when he's sus of you and it kind of gets in the way of a good relationship. My other favorite interesting thing of note is the Jello shot that Emily and Josh took. Emily took it. Josh could not figure out how to get the Jello out of his thing and ended up not taking that shot. So it's really funny how that Jello shot also came up. And then Joe, who is the lover of lovers, happened to notice that Danny got up and left Brienne and joined your group, I think. Yes. I think she went over to Lachey. So I asked Brienne about that. I'm like, what's going on? How's your date with Danny? She goes, oh, it's great. And I'm like, Joe is over there like, this is proof Danny is the mole. La-da-da, la-da-da. And he just goes, and so I'm like, okay, my bad. Yeah. Great date, great fun. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Man owes me a drink.
But then we arrived back at the house and we're like, hey, guess what? It's a surprise double elimination. You're being eliminated as partners. Good luck. You and Joe go off and strategize.
Right. So Luke went off and strategized, and Joe went with me. And we love you, Joe. So this is why we were not meant to be matched together. This is why me and Riley were meant to be matched together. I'm like, I put my whole game on the line. The whole reason I didn't flip lovers here was because of how bluntly truthful I was with Joe. I went right in. I was like, I went in last round on Aaron and Danny, and I don't think it's Danny, but I think it's a woman, which leaves Emily, it leaves Brienne, it leaves Danny. So what we need to do, Joe, is I put all my answers on 3 people. You put all your answers on 3 people, and they're all different. You rule out you and me. That is 6 suspects we got, and we should be able to get through them all. I'm obviously we're going to rule out Josh, Aaron, Steven in my mind. And Joe goes, I think you're the mole. And here I am. I have like laid this down. Like, I think it's either Danny, Emily, or Brienne based on my choices. And then over here, so why don't you take Brienne? Because I really don't think it's her. So I will take Danny, Aaron, and then heck, I'll just put Emily. And then you do these 3. Well, I think it's either you, Josh, Steven, or Aaron. And I'm like, those are the exact people that I am confident it is not. Like, it is literally the girls. He's like, well, why don't we just do the best we can and whoever gets more right? I'm like, can we just please lock in? I literally think it is Aaron or Danny. And here is my logic. I made it through last round. I had to look at my answers. This is what I think. Let's pick a third person each and do this. Yeah, so okay, I'll do Josh, Aaron, Steven, and maybe a little on you. So, in my mind, why did I not flip? Because I just told Joe everything I was thinking. And in my knowledge, maybe Joe says he was playing Survivor. I definitely am playing Survivor at this point because I feel whatever I just told Joe is not secret. And Joe is going to go spill that to whoever he switches with. And I was playing my cards a little close to my chest. And I was like, oh no, he's going to go, Luke thinks it's this, 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 and this. And now everyone's kind of figuring out my game. And I'm like, I got to keep this under wraps. And I think I even made a comment after we took the quiz that, oh, Joe took 3 times as long as I did. okay, maybe we can work together on this because I'm going to beat him on speed. But yeah, he was like all the people I didn't think. And so I know I'm jumping here a minute, but this is why this is the least shocking elimination and my happiest elimination of the entire game. Because I knew that Joe was going on the men, Luke, Steven, Aaron, Josh. And I knew that I basically split on Danny, Aaron, and a little on Brienne. And I am like, Danny and Brienne go. And I'm like, I am on cloud nine. I think I have just won the game. I am like, Joe has gone and put all of these on all these people that he shouldn't have put on.
Mm-hmm.
I had Danny, Brienne, and Aaron. Danny, Brienne, just go home. It's Aaron. I have done it. I have solved it. I am the winner of the Mole, Ohio. And so a lot of this, and Josh and I have talked about this all after. So a lot of after this elimination where Josh is like, my mind is blown. Everything I know is wrong. Up is down, is short is long, black is white, the Weird Al song. And I'm like, yeah, it sucks for you.
Yeah, so because Josh goes all in on Danny this round.
Right.
So what's happening when Josh is coming to you? Is he trying to just pick your thoughts? Is he trying to see your notebook, or what what's
he wants to know? He wants to know what I'm thinking. And again, remember, Steven, I am on cloud nine. I have won the game. I am in no way going to Josh. Oh, by the way, it's Aaron with an E. Very clear. I'm like, follow the money. Because I'm like, Aaron had lost that mycology question. Aaron didn't take the Joker. Aaron's team had the $5 things. All true of Emily. But I'm like, okay, I have gone on Aaron. Here it is. I'm not going to tell it to Josh. So I'm like, follow the money. He's like, I think you're being suspicious. Oh, this is what it is at the final 8. That you all just, alliances don't matter. Friendships are out the door. Every man for himself at this point. I'm like, I don't think I've given you information yet, Josh. And he immediately, I think John comes by and goes, anyone want confessional? And Josh's like, I do. And he just walks up the stairs. And that whole confessional where he's like, Luke will tell me who he's thinking no matter what, was from that right at that moment. He's like, I am not dealing with Luke. Luke is and he is just off at me. And here I am. I even think I vented to my roomie, who I thought was my coalition. I'm like, Josh is having a breakdown right now. I don't know what's going on with him. And you're like, it's all a game. It's all a game. And I'm like, yep, he's off the rails. And again, my whole perception of this whole thing is Joe went on all these ridiculous people. I went in on Aaron, Danny, and Brienne. I know I didn't miss a question between the three of them. Like I am 100% confident there wasn't an accidental Steven, an accidental we all know at this point Joe's quiz saved me. But I am on cloud nine. I am up all night studying Aaron's dossier. I am paying attention to where Aaron was in the game. And I had a confessional that didn't make it the next morning where I'm like, okay, I know who the mole is. So today's day is all about sabotage because I need to get people to be looking at me and not at Aaron.
It's wild because at this point, I'm also 90% confidence Aaron. I'm just everything reads Aaron at this point. And I had put stuff on Danny, but Danny goes out oh, well, that makes it easy. It's Aaron.
I did it. I solved the Mole, Ohio. And I am, and again, cutting ahead. I looked at Tim right before that quiz and I go, this is the quiz where I'm either about to win the game or I'm going to go out gloriously with all the confessionals that I have done all morning. And Tim's like, isn't it great when you're at that point? I'm like, yeah. And we both know Aaron goes. And that was my shocking elimination. I'm like, wait, what?
My heart drops out when I see that happen. I'm just like, oh no. And I have no backup.
Right. I'm like, first of all, and you see my quiz scores, this is not secret to the viewers. I got 20 out of 20 on Aaron that round. I knew my Aaron. I was locked. I went and I made it. And Aaron went home. But we're skipping ahead.
So that morning of day 3, we're around the kitchen table.
No, Luke's drinking coffee. writing down Aaron facts over and over again in his journal. Go ahead.
Did you hear me ask Erin so much? Like, I'd be like, Erin, what about the following? She's like, why didn't you have that in your notebook? I'm like, I just missed it. But can you tell me about this about yourself, please?
Like, I am literally like, that was what I would do in the morning while you were out letting Emily put bowls on you and Joe was out running, is I would just be sitting there drinking my coffee, just going through my notebook, rewriting down the suspects that I thought and all their dossier again by itself. Like, because originally, and we haven't even talked about this yet, the grouping of quizzes that I, like everybody else, was surprised by what the quiz was.
Yeah.
So my whole first half of my notebook was all those groupings.
Yeah,
And so
which are
useless. So I was taking that whole next morning to write out Aaron specifically. So I knew all of Aaron's stuff exactly on it. And anyway, so we're sitting there. And Aaron, who at this point I am 100% sure is the mole, I am on cloud nine. I have won the game. And I have made my closest ally just so mad at me that he is storming around making alliances with the wall, with Joe. He is. He's asking the limited players for help while playing beer pong. Like, he is really spiraling. And I am like, sorry, sucks to be my ally. And I figured it out, And Erin comes in and she says, here, I found this postcard laying around. Walk us through that, Stephen.
Oh my gosh. So she just plops this postcard on the table. It's like, I found this. I don't know what it is. And you take it just like, oh, this is a T9. And you proceed to describe several times how this works. And you just code it in like the span of like a minute. It's impressive.
But let's mention that again, Stephen. I explained it several times how to make that T9. Like, it wasn't just once. It wasn't just twice. Several times. And then I don't remember if it was Emily or Danny that came down the stairs or walked in. And Aaron immediately was like, oh, we found a cipher and it's a T9 connection. But you wouldn't understand it because you aren't from our generation. And I am like, girl, you didn't understand this 5 minutes ago. What do you mean? So I am like, so in my mind, the way my brain was thinking is Aaron was like, oh, I need to plan these mole activities before I go too, just like you and I had. And so here was my fun little postcard thing that I had planned to show that I was doing mole things that people aren't going to think about. That's where my mind was. And yeah, you solved this postcard, but it doesn't mean anything. And then the postcard vanishes very shortly after that into someone's notebook. And I'm like, and it's like, we want to talk about anything else other than the postcard. I'm like, okay, Aaron, your little, I'm trying to show off some mole thing that I planned ahead of time didn't work. So I'm moving on with my life and talking about something else now. That was my whole take on the situation.
Like Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Oh, we will talk about that in a very short moment.
Yeah. So after kind of the whole postcard debacle, do you end up seeing any of the other postcards or does Aaron just hold on to them?
No, I never saw any other postcards in the entire game. And I mean, again, hindsight 2020, but my brain and gut say I won't think I would have cared. Yeah, I don't think that would have gotten me. I don't think that would have gotten me. I can't say it because I wasn't in the moment. Maybe if I was in Brienne's situation where I was the only one finding them on the first day, it might have gotten me. But after Aaron showed hers, that thing, I don't think I would have cared.
So we're all sitting around the kitchen table. The phone rings. And
here's an undisputed fact that people do not remember because this has not come up in any conversation. You know who answers the phone first? Luke. Luke is by the phone, but Luke, again, confidently incompetent, does not know how to open a FaceTime on the phone. Is this ringing a bell, Stephen? Yes. So I grab the phone and I'm like, Rachel's calling. And then I'm trying to press the button. I couldn't figure it out. So I just put it back down. And then we look forward and Tim's filming the whole thing. And then everybody that wanted Team TV was like, my moment. Like Josh immediately got up, went to it. Emily, who had also started her day off with, I'm trying to be more assertive today. I'm not getting the TV time I want. So I want to make sure I'm more in the decision making. So she ran right to it. That made sense. And by that time, Aaron going, who cares? I mean, we were all just sitting there like, okay, you two have fun. Go ahead, kids.
So you were you were okay not being able to go.
No, and in retrospect, I'm also okay with it. Again, I don't regret any decision I made in this game, but I'm not. This is not the decision I'm upset with. If I had to look back,
you end up being the only player to guess correctly that Aaron is telling the truth. So like, it was good
I
that
was
we
the
had
only
good
person to suss out who was lying and who was telling the truth in a game where Aaron went, yeah. So again, for you viewers behind the scene, because these are conversations that haven't happened yet on this podcast. While the three amigos are outside getting abducted and thrown into vans, Steven and I are literally looking through the blinds, trying to figure out what's going on with this challenge. It isn't just Luke, it is Luke and his coalition of Steven, who Luke and Steven were up the previous night discussing things like friends and not like me lying awake telling him all for thing I knew and him saying, uh-huh. So he has more reason.
I'm a terrible friend.
He has more reason on night 2 to look at me as an ally, and he should have clearly thought I wasn't the mole at this point for how much I'm spilling to him in the evening, but we all work here. And so I am literally sitting there looking through the blinds with my coalition member, and I would say something like, hey, they're getting in the van, and Aaron would be da 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 da, and then Steven would be like, oh, I think we have to do and as he would start to say what he have to do, Aaron would be like da 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 da. I'm like, this is brilliant. She's getting louder and keeping on social conversation to keep us distracted. This mole is. Like, I get it. Like, Steven and I are sitting here trying to figure out the challenge, and Aaron is doing a job that I didn't even think would be sabotaged beforehand of bringing us back to a whole nother topic. And Joe is just eating that out of her hand, even though Luke had just said last night, by the way, Joe, I think it's Aaron. And he goes, she is good at these games. I'm like, yeah, it's Aaron. Let's do it. And he's like, oh, Aaron, Jurassic Park. And Aaron's like, Jurassic Park. And you would be like, I think for this challenge, Aaron would be like, what, Jurassic Park? And I'd be like, I think we need to. I'm like, and so I just finally sat down. I was getting so frustrated. I'm like, Steve and I are just giving up on trying to figure out this challenge because you two are clearly uninterested.
I think I also got yelled at by production saying, stop looking up.
Well, it was because Trish, shout out to Trish, came in and saw that we were looking out the windows, went outside and tattled on us. And then she was responsible to tell us to stay seated and stare forward and seatbelts locked, tray tables up.
So the other three come back and they tell us they watched the video. They give their little spiels. And you are the one that says that Aaron's sucky performance because he's trying to hide the fact that he has to tell the truth.
And again, let's remember that Team Luke right now is like, I have to sabotage this because Aaron is the mole and I have figured this out. So my brilliant question was, tell me a fake fact about, or tell something that's not true about Wilmington, Ohio. Like, that is such a worthless question and it's not going to help at all.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
So yeah, I'm like,
I don't think I had clocked that the truth teller had to only speak truth.
Well,
like I don't think like that Aaron could not say anything false. Like I don't think I'd fully internalized what that had meant per se.
Well, and I asked flat out, like, what's the advantage of them being picked? Like, oh, we can't tell you production secrets. Remember, Luke, how you got like 17 extra strokes in mini golf? And this one, we're just going to go with it. So and I'm like, okay. So I knew there was something up with the person that saw the video that they had to make us think they didn't see it. Mm-hmm. And Aaron, in my mind, was doing the best job at convincing us that he didn't see the video, where the other two were very happy to give details and interesting things. He was like, I'm going to filibuster this 15 seconds. And you might say, wow, Luke, you were able to look at Josh, Emily, and Aaron and figure out who the truth teller was. Wow, you must have gotten something great for that. No, Steven, absolutely not. There was no advantage, money for the pot, or anything that I won for correctly guessing that. Good question.
You helped potentially deny Aaron an advantage.
So again, me in my best moment in this entire game, where I know who the mole is 100%, and I suss out who's lying in this thing, and nothing. Nada. Not even a sip of vinegar.
Well, speaking of vinegar, we then play an advantage lottery sense. We can buy balls. 3 balls we draw now. If it has your number on it, you win Joker as long as you'll get voted out from a round table from 3 progressive survivor rounds.
So what the viewers don't realize is we don't get a TLDNR for these challenges. And so what my brain heard was
this is a Richard Casino challenge. I think is probably why we don't have a TLDR.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying we didn't get one as a reader, as a person there. So what my brain heard this challenge was, if you don't have a Joker and you get voted out, you lose money for the pot. That is what my brain heard. How accurate that is, still with the rules, yet to be determined, because my eyes glaze over when I hear them. But that is what my brain heard. So my brain was like, number one, go in here, don't get any balls, don't even know what your number is. And Trish is like, your ball number is, I'm like, don't tell me. She goes, we have to tell you, Luke. It is 3. And I'm like, is there any way I can get a different ball? Because I don't want to know. No, your ball is 3. And I'm like, okay. So I went out with my story anyway, knowing it was a whole cock and bull. But I thought, oh, if they vote me out and I don't have a Joker, our pot loses money. And again, my game today was team sabotage. I want to make sure I'm sabotaging that pot every time I can, because I know who the mole is. It's Aaron, and I need people to start looking at me. That is what happened. Now, what actually were the rules and how actually that affected me? Unsure, but I even think I said in that circle, oh, you can just vote me out here, I don't care, or something, to allow people to take that vote for me to put me on the couch so I could be the first boot. That did not affect me. It's what I wanted. And the only time I even thought differently was when they went, oh, Luke was the only one not to take extra balls. And I went, oh, was I supposed to have extra balls and then get voted out? Or
I mean, when your name gets floated around one, I'm just like, I was kind of like, who do I want to not have an advantage this game? Like, I don't think I want Luke to have an advantage this game because I'm afraid of Luke. And so I was like, I'll vote Luke.
Luke, my roommate, who I'm in a coalition with in his mind, because we stay up at night talking about everything mole game. I don't think we had one social conversation at night. We were talking about the mole the whole time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So we're in the coalition in our minds. I think our only social conversation happens later that day. But yeah. And you're like, oh, I want Luke out here. Okay. And so, as Stephen alludes to, the first 3 people on this couch are Luke, Stephen, and Emily. You might say the same car ride that went to mini golf. Interesting. It's almost like when people were putting questions on Luke, Stephen, or Emily, they were putting it on the same person for some questions. Just food for thought.
So your strategy going into this quiz, all in on Aaron again,
100%. And I mean, now looking retrospect, I probably should have split, but I don't know, in my brain, with Joe thinking it was the men and the men that I was confident it wasn't, and me thinking it was Danny, Aaron, Brienne, who I knew I split on. How do you not? I'd be making it up if I went on Lachey. I'd be making it up if I went on Joe. I'd be making it up if, I just really felt good about it.
And so I'm curious, any conversation with Josh or Aaron this round?
Oh, no, other than me refusing to tell Josh shit. Yeah, because Josh would poke. I think there's the one scene where he's like, I'm used to be the one playing people, not the one that's getting played. And at this moment, Josh, in his mind, and he didn't really say it in his interview, but he's told me numerous times, his mindset is Luke is the mole and Luke wants me to win the game. So Luke is hinting at the follow the money so that I will go realize Luke is losing us money and that Luke is the mole. Luke is trying to tell me he is the mole, because that is how all of our conversations were going at this point. And I'm like, yeah, Josh, I'm not telling you anything.
Did you have any reaction? Because this is a big round for Aaron with an A, right? Because he does a lot. So it's kind of like, for me, it was like, whoa, should I be considering? But for you, just like, whatever.
Yeah, I kind of felt that whatever, but I was more annoyed than suspicious. Like when I came to the table and I was like, oh, I didn't look at my balls and therefore I don't know my numbers, which is what my whole strategy was. And Aaron was like, that sounds good. I didn't look at my balls either because I didn't want to know what my strategy was. I'm like dude, I'm right here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was more like annoyed. The first challenge, really, ultimately, it was a big round for Aaron because Josh and Emily got you all to vote. But
Mm-hmm.
that second part, I didn't think anything of it. In fact, I will say, gun to my head, I never seriously considered Aaron as a suspect, ever.
Mm-hmm. So you take the quiz, you go all in on Aaron with an E.
100%. And Aaron's right behind me going, it's me. It's me. And I'm like, girl, we know you're the mole. Like, calm down. You don't need to go above and
Mhm.
beyond. You're being like, we get it. You're the mole. Calm down. And then Aaron's name comes up and it goes red. And I think that was my moment. And so let's cut to what happens after this. I am like, shit, I need allies to kind of help me figure this one out because I fucked up. And they put us into two different groups. Joe, the all-knower, Stephen, Emily, and Aaron, and then me, Lachey, and Josh. And Lachey and I are starting to talk. And Josh, the lurker, comes over and he's like trying to involve himself. And I'd want to be like, oh crap, I have been coy with Josh for the last 12 hours. What am I going to do right now? Come clean and go, Josh, I really thought Aaron was the mole. I was wrong. I need your help. Because Josh is going to be like, ha, ha, ha. No, you didn't. You didn't think it was Aaron. Who's the mole, Luke? Oh, I know who the mole is. And he has two eyes and he's in front of me. Like, I didn't want to have this conversation. So I'm trying to give like Lachey conversation, and Josh the lurker would keep coming over. And so finally, and we can talk about that little challenge there, it's irrelevant to the whole game. So finally, Tim comes out and he's like, you all can go to lunch. And I'm like, yeah, Lachey, let's go to lunch. And Josh flies in again. Where are you guys going to lunch? We should all go to lunch together. Josh, I'm trying to have a conversation with Lachey. And so be it. Lachey's like, well, I'm going. And Josh follows, but ends up Josh and Joe end up going somewhere. Lachey ends up going somewhere. And I stay around the house.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I am like, okay, let's pull out the journal. Let's figure this out. Who did you have common questions? I knew I had that perfect score on Aaron. Like, who did you have any questions at all with? And really just go to town on it. Oh, I can talk to these other allies. Wait, Emily, Steven, and Aaron are still here? Maybe we could go to lunch together. Hey, you guys open the door. Oh, we were locked in. They forgot us. Okay, we're going to lunch. Bye, Luke. And I'm like, okay, I will just sit here and I have a choice right now. I can either go to lunch by myself or I can just sit here and stare at my journal and figure this out. So I'm like, okay. So I go through, and I think the correct answer in retrospect is I have 3 on Joe, 2 on Lachey, and 1 on Emily, and that 1 on Emily saved me. I think that's what it was, but my brain was like I had 3 on Joe, 2 on Lachey. And so I'm like, it wasn't Steven, it wasn't Aaron, it wasn't Josh, it isn't me. It's not Brienne, it's not Aaron, it's not Danny. Is the reason I'm still here is because Joe is the mole? Because Joe didn't go in on the right people.
Mm-hmm.
I went in on these 3 and they're all gone. I have 3 answers with Joe that intersect with Aaron. Did Joe save me? And that is my new spiraling logic now going into the next challenge.
So we get back from lunch in all our various places, and thus we begin the Crinkle Crunkle.
By far the easiest challenge ever known to man.
For my team, yeah.
Yeah, because you had Joe the artist, who was also the mole in my head at this point.
And we also had LeBron James to depict.
To quote the great philosopher, my mother, Well, they just had to make a big 23, and that's all they had to do. But for us, we had Phyllis Diller, who looked exactly like Missy from the org community. Maddie, love you if you ever watch this. We had Sarah Jessica Parker that looked like Sarah Jessica Parker, and we had Halle Berry that looked like a vampire. And let's also keep in mind, as the great philosopher Josh described it, Dumb, Dumber, and Dumbest. We have colorblind, inept at anything crafts and crafts, Luke. We have Josh, who is at this point so tired that he's just sabotaging on purpose or not on purpose or whatever. And then we have Aaron, who is taking this the most seriously, but at the same time is also trying to draw suspicion to himself. And all three of us, the Sus Squad, are in the same room, putting together what I think is the most artistic piece of the year. I hear it's been entered in festivals. And I heard that it just got stolen from the Louvre, which is why we can no longer see it. Oh, also, fun fact, any viewer that is this far into this and still listening, did you know that the password they used at the security system for the Louvre was Louvre? That's how they were able to easily break the code. That was on CNN 10 the other day.
Oh my gosh, that's so...
It wasn't even like 1, 2, 3, 4 or 1, 1, 1, but the security for all of it was Louvre. But that's how they stole the Halle Berry painting, obviously, or picture. But no, that final episode said it right. Like, Josh should put something down, I'd take it off and put it right back down in the same spot. If you saw there was one spot, we had it all laid out at the bottom. Josh just took the whole thing off to put the glue stick on there. Like, we had carefully laid this whole thing out, and he just like threw it all off and then took the glue stick to then slowly put it all back on. It was a mess. I actually stand, just like I did for the funeral picture, by everything we did in this. Like, we had a mindset of, okay, this looks like shit. Let's put a big X on it so that way Joe knows it's X-Men. It goes with his tattoo. And then Aaron's using yellow for the X. I'm like, I thought it was blue. So then we're doing this blue thing. I think there was one point I'm grating paper on there like it's Parmesan on top of it. And the funniest thing about this whole thing is that Aaron and I were so protective of this picture now that we made it, that it's like we were both two-hand holding it, slowly walking down the stairs, making sure it wouldn't fall apart, getting all the way to the bottom so we could hold it up perfectly. Like, we were taking that thing seriously. And I think that adds to some of the fun that I don't think the viewers understand, is that, yeah, it looked like crap, but it was our crap. And
we own it.
And we own it, and we were in love with it, and we were really proud of it. And I mean, we had such fun. Like, you saw the spot where I called out Josh. I hope that definitely made the edit, but it was so hidden between everything there of me going, Josh, we all know what you're doing. We see you getting in a final two with everybody, and then saying like, we're your only ones you trust. And Aaron's like, yeah, we see that. And like, Josh, it's okay. Sit aside. You quit sabotaging. We'll just tell everyone you sabotage it anyway, because we know that's what you want. And I mean, I am gaslighting this poor 27-year-old accountant, and to making him think that he was the problem here. And it totally was me and Aaron just having a blast putting this thing together. And I think Lachey's reaction, perfect. Chef's kiss for that whole thing. Just amazing. Loved it. Would do it again in a heartbeat. I can't wait to see the challenge. The problem again, though, is if you're Team TV, you're having tons of fun, and the next thing you know, that your production member can't hold the camera straight because they're laughing so hard and yelling, "This is the funniest thing!" And then you're like, "Oh crap! Now I got to perform for the camera." I wasn't performing for the camera. I legitimately thought it's like Josh at one point had like made a carrot basically and put it on her nose like a witch, and I'm like, "What is this? What is this?" And he's like, "Oh, it was her nose." I'm like, "Stop." Meanwhile, I'm putting like a black piece for her ear. I mean, it was great. And then again, what other people don't realize is like the color blindness. When those packets were like this thick, one layer always looked black, but then when you open it up, it would be like a dark blue or a dark purple. So I had to open up every pack. They had me sorting the colors because I thought that's something I could do. And I'd be like, "Oh, here's the one with the black." So I mean, it was just a fun time. Not as organized as yours.
Oh my gosh, the contrast between the two groups, where the worst thing they can say is Steven doesn't use a glue stick well. Versus just
Well,
the paper explosion.
and again, Joe the Mole comes up to me and he's like, Steven didn't do much in the challenge. And I'm like, oh, it must be Steven. But I didn't think it was Steven. I wasn't putting anything on you. In fact, I would say my closeness with Joe from the date followed by this challenge just nailed in the coffin any thought that I was screwing up the Steven plan. Because if Steven was the mole, Joe would have still been in the game multiple times. Because he was like, it's either Steven or it's Luke. It's Steven or it's Luke. And he was very clear, happy to tell me it was Steven multiple times. That it's almost interesting that Emily tried to sell that to Josh. And even in her confessionals, like, I'm pushing Steven. And I'm like, if Steven was the mole, Joe would have been there because Joe is really on the Steven train.
Yeah. Which,
But
I just had no idea. I mean, I probably should have realized that because we just didn't have any game talk. We had some personal talk, but no game talk whatsoever between the two of us ever.
And it's something to look out for if you're playing a bowl game with me and if you ever see a deep cut of this. But one thing that I really got from this game is the 2 a.m. talk. Because I feel like, especially with like you and me, neither of us are playing the mole at 2 a.m. We're talking about the mole. We're transferring information. We're quizzing each other. We're walking through the game. But we're not, you're not sabotaging me at 2 a.m. I'm not sabotaging you at 2 a.m.
I'm so tired. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, we have better things to do with our time. And that's very interesting because that's how I kind of ruled out you and Brienne and then eventually you fully, was because of how normal our conversations were at 2 a.m. Because we weren't playing the mole at that time. We were reviewing the mole. And that's that I think we've talked a little differently offline about how Aaron may have had a disadvantage, but I think that's also his advantage, is that no one ever saw him when he was finally like, I'm trying to go to bed right now. Not I'm playing the mole right now, you know.
But yeah, no, I think it ended up making just differences, right? That's how you have the Joe Lachey and kind of Noah thing kind of come about. That's why you and I kind of how it affected our influence us. I mean, Riley and Josh. I mean, I think if Riley stayed in, Josh would really have like brought him in and said, "Hey, like, you're one of us now."
I mean, to quote the great philosopher Stephen, what is a coalition? Like, how do you define a coalition? Like, and I think I still am on team. You don't need a coalition to win the game. But like the fact that Joe was willing to share with me that he really thought it was you and me was enough for me to just rule you out when Joe left. You know, so I mean,
because I think I was so paranoid in the game. If someone ever told me, like, you know, at that dinner that second night, people were like, Brienne, I'm like, if you're pushing Brienne's name on me, I'm not going to believe it.
Right. I'm like, where's that information coming from? Because I would hope that the mole and the game designer aren't putting a game together where they're like, we did it, first challenge. Like, because mine was all mathematically based in my mind. It wasn't, I saw Danny or I saw Aaron Jurassic Park us in the morning and I said that was the final straw. I split my answers this way. I know Joe split his this way. Wow. We did it. The minute Joe and I were safe, we did it. Like, I didn't see it as, I don't think the game designer's like, oh, Danny forgot her tube. Danny's the mole. We all did it. We all solved it.
Yeah. I mean, so you go in this quiz, you go all in on Joe?
No, because I had learned my lesson the previous round. And so, like I said, I had, I think, 3 on Joe and 2 on Lachey. So I think I split this 15-5. I think I had 15 Joe, 5 Lachey, because I was like, okay, I think it's Joe. My logic is going there, but let's not be an idiot and go all in again. You almost lost the game. So let's make sure if you have 1 on Lachey, you put 5 on Lachey. Like, so I think I did 15-5. And again, through the grace of God, not putting anything on Emily, because remember, Emily was forgotten here at lunch too. I somehow make it through.
So Joe goes out.
Yes, and we continue the curse of Luke.
Yeah, for you, you're like, okay, if Joe's out, then I know it should be Lachey at this point.
Right. This is my brain. And like, I remember texting my mom that night saying, hey, I'm still in the game. I made some fantastic TV today. Because I am like, it's Aaron. It's got to be Aaron. I have proven it. It's Aaron. Okay. I'm pretty sus on Joe. Joe goes, okay, it's got to be Lachey. Lachey goes. I'm like, oh
The
no.
kiss of death.
I'm like, I don't know. But
So remind me, what was our first challenge at the final six?
so that was the family member one, or was it the warehouse? It was either the warehouse and family member.
Family member one, then warehouse after.
No, I think you're the other way, or we did both, went to dinner, and then had the quiz.
Sure, but yeah, something like that.
Because I feel like it was dark when we did the quiz.
We went to dinner with Josh and everyone. Josh paid, and then we had the quiz after.
Yeah, because I said that was the night where I sat across from my number one ally, and I said, "Let's not talk game." And who was sitting across from me? Said the audience. Steven. Who was next to Steven? Emily. Again, keeping this Luke, Steven, Emily trifecta that constantly happens in this game that people did not notice, even though we were never a coalition. It just many times where the three of us were always together. But I said, we're not going to talk game.
So for the picture challenge, anything stand out here for you?
Yeah. Oh God, I gotta say, how am I gonna say this? It is interesting how Luke fell into stereotypes of fellow players when it came to picking the people he thought were related to them and was drastically wrong. Let's go with that.
I mean, I'm amazed that we got anything right, because the fact people put non-family members, like the fact Aaron matched Emily's correctly is wild to me.
Well, did you so when you planned your family member, I literally said this could be for a challenge where I need to look sus. And if I throw my mom on there, she looks just like me. Everyone's going to know that that's my mom. And that's not going to help me with any type of sus look. I might get money in the pot, but it's not going to help me still appear to be a little suspicious. So I intentionally chose someone that looked nothing like me and was even looking away of someone that, you wouldn't expect to see with me, just so that this challenge would not work out for me. So, I mean, the only thing that could have made it worse is if I got drawn in the cards and been like, Luke, you have to find Luke's family member. Then I would have been like, oh shit, I have to put this on Lindsay or maybe not at that point. I don't know. But
I mean, my thought process.
What's really fun and interesting, again, and I don't discredit the game, I thought the game was fun, is that we all had our phones. And so, of course, when you've been hanging out with people in the house for 24 hours, everyone's friending themselves on Facebook. And the picture that I used of the family member, of the loved one, is Lindsay, my bestie, who is literally in my profile picture at the time when everyone's requesting friendship on Facebook. And you can literally see our Iceland pictures because we've just gotten back as the first feed. So here it is. Lachey has friended me. Josh has friended me. Josh has figured out our mutual friends. And so the fact that Lachey even went in there and was like, oh, this looks like Luke's mom, random white lady. I thought, that doesn't make sense, because you literally just looked at my Facebook an hour ago. Like, you could have saw that. So that kind of threw me too. So that's starting the Lachey sus a little bit. But if I'm looking back on the game and looking back at my brain thought, I didn't really have sus on Lachey, except for she is the only one that is left of my logic brain.
It was weird having access to phones. It was really nice people call family or to have someone to talk to outside the game in the evenings. To kind of clear the mind, or just kind of say, hey, here's just what I'm thinking. I did not even think of looking up anyone else in the game on any social media until after the game ended. Just never even occurred to me.
Oh no, it had happened, and that's why it was like, you didn't know this, you didn't catch this, like. So that kind of stuck out a little bit for Family Challenge. But other than that, I mean, again, I don't care that Emily hit the family members, because Emily has been forgotten by production twice. Emily was not even available to guess things. Emily, is losing the money, the same as Aaron, but who's Emily thinking? And that's kind of where my brain started that night. Like, why is Emily here? Who is Emily thinking? And Emily would say she's thinking Steven. And again, my knowledge of Joe thinking Steven, I'm like, okay, so is Emily thinking Aaron? Is Emily thinking Josh? Oh, Emily's thinking me. Because another red flag that's fine. We do my next game is 4 red flag. But another thing that stuck out to me in retrospect was Emily had even brought up more times than not that I had her as my mole on the first quiz. I was always like, Emily, I haven't been suspicious of you. She's like, oh, except for that first round. Like, she would bring that up. And in retrospect, I'm looking on that and I'm like, oh, that should have been a hit that she keeps dwelling on a quiz score that wasn't even hers. Like, I should have hit me, but it didn't. But yeah, I was trying to think, what is Emily thinking? Because I didn't believe it was Steven. And so she would say, Luke, I think there's more to you than you're giving off, and Luke, I'm putting some on you, and Luke, I haven't ruled you out. So I still thought she had player vibes at that point. But again, my data did not back up Emily. My data backed up Lachey. And so that's where I was. And so that even includes when Emily said to me after the chopstick challenge, which we are not talking about yet, because Luke just jumps around and does what he wants, is she even told me we had those little mints that were really hard to pass, especially if you're a 2-hand chopsticking it like Luke. And she was telling me flat out, oh, I was giving you all the hard ones on purpose.
She told you that? I didn't know that.
She told me that. And I'm like, yeah, I saw that after, because she would break the mints because we could use the air. And so she'd do that, but then she'd give me the hard ones. She's like, yeah, I kept giving you the hard ones on purpose. And I'm like, huh. No.
Wow. So yeah, so the chopstick challenge is fun because we're told we need to nominate someone to be in charge. You're just like, Lachey would be a great person to do this.
But why is Luke doing this? Not because he doesn't like Lachey. Luke loves Lachey. Luke tried to eat lunch with Lachey. Luke tried to have conversation with Lachey. And based on Lachey's interview, we were a misconnection on LinkedIn because we definitely were trying to get into each other's thought and have conversation. But Lachey, at this point, is my data of the mole. And I have really not in my mind saw any sus since that first day. And so I'm like, put the girl in the front, let her see what she's doing, and let me see her sabotage this challenge. So that way I can go, okay, you weren't wrong. It's Lachey. And spoiler alert, it did nothing for me. She didn't sabotage the challenge. She trusted me to get advantages, and she wasn't the mole. So, man, that was just a strikeout there, but that was my thought at the time. Okay, so you said, Stephen, Luke, what is your only regret? And here it is. And that is, I think you and I have talked about this a lot offline. And again, like, it's that whole Google Maps situation. Like, my logic, my brain was like, who could anybody think of that? And I know I'm at the point in the game where people like Josh, I know, are sus of me. And I'm hopeful that you are sus of me. And you have had conversations at night with me that you were sus of me. And I'm like, I don't get it. I showed you my wardrobe. I talked all night about Aaron, but we're going to pretend he's sus of me. And I'm like, if I go for an advantage, I think I'm screaming, look at me. I need help. I'm a player. And if I don't go for the advantage, I'm screaming, oh, I'm trying to hide here. Oh, that's more mole behavior. That was my brain. And what I found fascinating is that your brain is completely the opposite. Your brain is like, he should have gone for the advantages. That's mole behavior. And rather than stay the player. And I was definitely the opposite in my mind, because I'm like, if I show that I really need this, I'm looking desperate as a player when I'm really not. So that was my thought. Also knowing that I could grab a joker and go away with it anyway and stick to the I give 3, I thought was a good story. But you're right. I do know that I do feel that move lost me the game. But at the same point, I don't regret the way I did that, because that's where my brain and logic was at that time. Because had I grabbed those 3, you might have split there.
There's a very high chance I end up splitting on you and Emily and probably rule out Aaron.
Yeah. But since I did the other way, you went all on Emily just to see what happens. And so I get it. I get your thought process, but that's the only thing that if I look back at my entire game, okay, maybe I should have done that. I see that way. And again, another takeaway I have from this is you got to remember not everyone thinks about things the way you do,
Yes.
or thinks as cynically and sarcastically about things the way I look at it. And I should go, oh, people legitimately think people that are stealing advantages at the beginning of the game are the people who are the mole. Like, oh, Josh opening the tube right away. Oh, that's mole behavior. To me, that screamed, okay, he's doing the most. He's not the mole.
Well, I
And
think
because,
I think a lot of, I want to say, and maybe the data can confirm this if Tim is bored, that I think almost the entire cast maybe wrote off Josh from that first round.
right.
Like I know I really like, I saw all that. I was like, this is a lot. I don't really think this. And like I said, and so I think it was so weird how for me Josh was self-interested player, but Danny was like, ooh, could be mole, just because I think for hers were so much more sneaky and surprising that really caught everyone off guard. It was like, I now have to really watch Danny. Josh,
And so for me, I felt good because I'm like, I still sneak this Joker that is still quote unquote sneaky, but I still look like I'm playing for the pot. And that's what I thought a mole would do in that situation. Not, and I don't, and what's really interesting in also retrospect on this challenge is the candy really didn't have a lot to do on the challenge. Like the chopstick thing. I mean, I get why it was there. It was there to keep it fun.
Well, I think the initial plan had for us to do it blindfold,
which would have been even more fun.
Well, it would have been an absolute disaster of proportions. Nothing would have ever happened if we were all blindfolded. That I mean, maybe strategic blindfolding. I don't know, but still, like, so I think there was kind of a difficulty scale from like near impossible to okay, we're just trafficking candy across the line now.
Right. Like I think we filled like 10 cups full. And so I think I was focused more on, oh, I'm two-handed chopsticking this and just dropping these incompetently, looking like I'm competent. Which, by the way, for the record, I can't do chopsticks, so it works out. But, you know, I'm being incompetent as it is. Okay, now I'm going to go take this free Joker and still help out here on the battleship. And I think I've thought about it differently on what I probably could have done to keep my position. Is I probably could have taken the 3 and snuck Lachey one and said, hey, listen, you're right. I took the advantage, but here is a Joker in good faith.
Yeah. I think they come back and said, hey, like I said no to a Joker, and therefore I get like 3 shots. I don't like, and then everyone else has like, I got offered exemptions and all these things. Like, why was Luke so modest? I think then like I would have been like very much like, huh, what's going on there? I'm not really worried.
Yeah, and Aaron taking that exemption really ruined the chance.
Not taking that exemption.
Yeah, because we're not taking the exemption. Because what are you going to do when you come back? You're going to go, oh, yeah, I had no Jokers or any advantages. Thanks. Like, no matter what you're saying, it was nothing compared to the 20 turns for that exemption. Like, so in essence, this challenge is what a cluster it was. Really won you the game.
Oh man, I was just spiraling. I'm just like, I have 3 top suspects at this point. All 3 went in the room. All 3 came out with what I think is nothing. I'm like, what is happening?
And what's interesting, I mean, I'm not going to speak for Emily, but because I don't know what Emily would have done, but if I had had that exemption, I would have taken it. I was at a loss. Yeah, I was at a loss. I had gone all in on Aaron. I thought it was Joe. I'm guessing it's Lachey. I'm not seeing Lachey do any sabotage now. I need a free round here.
Yeah.
And so I think in my mind, grabbing that one Joker was in essence taking the advantage, and in essence did save me that round. And now,
so you beat Lachey because of that Joker, right?
Because of that Joker.
So
which here we go. And again, I don't know what's going through my bestie's mind with Josh, but Lachey is told that in her interview that night. They showed it in the post clips that she lost because someone took a Joker. At that same time, I'm revealing the Joker in the main room with you, Emily. I'm like, oh, by the way, I got this Joker. And Tim once again did Luke, you're going to have to redo that. Only this time, act like everyone needs to act a little bit more surprised and everyone not less tired. Luke, here's your script. Okay, now I'm filming. Hey guys, I took a Joker. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, because that was the second time we did it. And so Lachey, of course, now knows that I was saved because of this Joker.
Mm-hmm.
And she is in her feelings in the kitchen, rightfully so,
Yeah.
that about this. And so she's confronting me about it when I go in to give her a hug, and she's like, "You're the reason I'm out of this game." And she does this right in front of Josh. And I'm like, "What? You took a Joker when you shouldn't have, and that's why I'm out." I go, "You don't know that." And she goes, "Yeah, they told me."
Oh
So
no.
Josh should right now be going, "Luke's not the mole. Luke's not the mole." But I'm taking it as Lachey needs a moment.
Yeah.
It's a stressful game. I'm gonna walk away. So Josh, having his little meltdown, follows me and he's like, "Luke, I just want to make sure we're still friends." And I'm like, "Dude, everyone's fine. We're all tired. I'm going to bed."
Mm-hmm.
And so I head up to go study with my bestie upstairs. And you know what happened here. Like, I don't make this stuff up. This is
Yeah.
not me doing this for Team TV because I'm like, hey, at least I have a good moment. He comes up. I am wearing my tank top in bed. You and I are studying. And he's like, "Come play beer pong. I just really want you not to be mad at me. Are you mad at me? Come downstairs and play. Show me you're not mad by coming downstairs and playing games with us." And I'm like, "We're up here studying. Like, you and I are going through the whole game," which again should be a sign to both you and I that neither of us are the mole,
Yeah.
because we are like, everyone else is having fun and we're up here like
Mm-hmm.
going through the game. And Josh's like, "No, don't study. Come play." And I'm like, "Dude, another flipping meltdown." Anyway, uh, fun kid. Anyway,
So yeah, I mean, Josh, the amount he slept during the game, or the lack of sleep he had the game, and his able to function on that lack of sleep, amazing. I
yeah,
am impressed.
fascinating because he wasn't studying. And for the bat, and when you watch this back, Emily, at 9:58 mark, you were not studying either. And so you two were having so much fun downstairs, and Steve and I are like grandma and grandpa upstairs trying to sleep while the kids are banging on the ceiling.
So Lachey goes out. You had gone all in on her,
I did. Yeah, that would make sense because I had one, because I only got the Joker that saved me. I
and
had zero
so
correct.
and so. How do you then figure out it's Emily? Do you go back and revisit all the notes? Say,
Oh
oh, I
yeah. So that's what I was doing that night while we were sitting there. Is I said, time to start over again. Starting over with Josh.
Mhm.
Have I been fooled by Josh this whole game? Okay, let's
I
go to
know.
Aaron.
I was like, I'm gonna eat a sock if it's Josh. I'm gonna be so mad at myself.
Yeah, okay, let's do Aaron now. Okay, let's do Steven. Like, you're sitting next to me and I'm writing your dossier information, everything you did in the game. Let's look at Emily. And then I'm just saying to myself, and again, it was the Emily and Aaron comparisons, where
Mhm.
everything that I was blaming Aaron for, Emily was also responsible for,
Mhm.
other than she got her question right.
Mhm.
It's not Steven. This guy next to me is not stowing me right now. He's trying to sleep. And also, again, if it was Steven, Joe would still be in the game.
Mhm.
Like, let's be real. And also at that point, I don't think I had intentionally put questions on you. I mean,
Yeah.
at some point I had, but I was trying to do more of it meets more people, and
Mhm.
my brain kind of just goes very quickly through that. So I know I had questions on you, but I don't know how many. But I never intentionally had you as a majority or a split. I had never, for one quiz, had Josh as a question. I had never, for one quiz, really had Aaron as a question. Accidentally a couple times, sure, but never for real. Wasn't me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got to be Emily. And
Yeah.
I went back and I went through my notes one more time. And that morning, while you were hanging out with Emily on the stairs, I
Mhm.
mean, I just was only writing Emily information at that point and just rewriting Emily stuff because I went to bed knowing it was Emily. Now, when you and I had first started studying, no, I was rethinking through everybody.
Mm-hmm.
and going through every question in the whole entire game. And that's one of the reasons I even said, hey, you want to walk through the entire game? So I could put it together. But by the time I went to bed, I knew it was Emily. And I left her a little mole puppet in her bed as a sign that I knew it was her. But here's where, and this is where I lost the game, not just because of that Joker move, but because I had really spent that entire day learning Aaron. I had Aaron down. Like I had 20 out of I had 20 questions correct. Then the next round I had Joe and Lachey down. And that last round I had Lachey down. That by the time I'm now just trying to get Emily in it, I don't think that my brain, after 3 days of sleep, was comprehending where Emily was in this circle or where Emily was here. I am confident. I mean, Tim can go back and tell me which ones I missed, but I am confident. I'm sure I missed a couple circle games where Emily was standing in which position. I am confident I missed the how many times did Emily appear on the screen question. Because I didn't know. I didn't even try for that. And so all I had on that last day was Emily facts that I kept reading through. But I'm sure I messed up with an Aaron or Lachey because I had so gone hard on them all the day before. So it was like studying for math, social studies, and language arts on Thursday, acing those finals, and then you still have psychology on Friday, and you need to start studying for psychology that morning. And it's like, so I think that's where I lost the game is there. Again, I don't regret any decision I made, but we can walk through this final day of challenges. But we were at the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, because I think in comparison, I only ever memorized 2 people. Like I memorized Aaron with an E.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. Then I was like, then I memorized Emily.
Yeah.
And everyone else I knew nothing about. Except
yeah,
Noah.
and it was so crazy after the game when you're doing your debrief phone calls and you're talking to people about the game and they're asking about people you played and you have so many specific facts about people you can say. You're like, oh, Erin's a college professor out of Dayton, Ohio. She's 43 years old. Do you want to know her shoe size? I have that.
Favorite artist, favorite book.
Yeah. Even Lachey doesn't remember her favorite artist or her favorite author. So walking through that last day of challenges, let's talk about Supermarket Suite. Because Emily, Josh, and I didn't do much during that challenge. So I'd love to hear, Stephen, Supermarket Suite.
So, we do the memory game, right? And it's like you're adding things to the list based off the last letter. And you, Emily, and Josh followed this really fast. Leaving
great memory. Because I'm trying to memorize Emily facts. Did you not catch that I woke up?
Need to know about the tofu and the donuts and everything else.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm trying to remember why that we both like black and that she likes Josh Gad as her celebrity. Like, I'm trying to remember these details. I don't get time to remember I'm going on a trip and bringing a kangaroo. Like, I'm trying to study.
Well, I mean, and so I'm curious when you hear the fact that our items that we just all added are an actual shopping list. Anything raise a red flag? You're just like, whatever.
I'm like, oh, he's gonna take a Steven. But I'm like, the mole's here. They're gonna have fun.
I mean, it felt like you had a very interesting, tense conversation with Emily and Josh while we were all gone. That was fun to see.
And again, I think it comes off as tense because we're all tired. And because Josh and I, as you know, had a Ross and Rachel through this entire 4 days of will they or won't they work together. And so this is just one of those won't they moments where Josh is going on. He's mad at me because I'm not giving him information because I'm the mole. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Emily and what she's spreading. And Emily is trying to hold on that she's the mole. So it just comes off tense. But I don't think anyone is seriously tense because are you seriously tense when you're like holding a puppet and you're like, that's a game? Like, we were having fun, but yeah, no, Josh was really laying on, and he was ever since the Danny Brand elimination of the I made an alliance. I'm going to keep my word to it. You have ruined our alliance. Why aren't you ever telling me information? Guilt trip. And he was going to you heard him. He's like, oh, how about you make an alliance and keep it? Like he was really pulling that every time he could. And I was here for it. So I was like, yep.
Yeah. The shopping trip, I think the most interesting was the rule that we could not run. Because you watch this, it's a leisurely sweepstakes tour of the Walmart because the rules were we couldn't run. And so it's kind of us just like, all right, we'll stroll through and see what we can find and have a good time. And I like
Questions from the audience.
mhm.
Could you have gotten a dictionary?
I even I love it. I I think Tim would have denied us that. I thought we were being clever with every one, and Tim's
Yeah,
like one word, not two. I'm like, oh, but we're being so cute.
Tim being stingy on the dollars after mini golf. So
We got $80 to spend. It was so much money. I was like, whoa! Like we spent like 40. We were good stewards of the money. I hope someone ate that tofu.
So regrets from that challenge is I wish I had said more food items because I was starving.
And we brought back
And
those tiny donuts. We should have brought
yeah,
back
and
so much more.
you got to go to Starbucks on the way back. I even
Yes,
heard
we
Trish
did.
say, "Oh, I'm gonna get them a treat." Like you two were like king for the morning, and we're back like eating leftover pizza, arguing with a mole puppet about the value of coalitions, and you all are like, "Oh, we got our Starbucks, our donuts, our tofu, and we get to be clever with everyone."
Yeah.
And
Aaron does try to kind of push me. Like, so Aaron and I have a potential coalition or our final two deal. And
and
he's trying to guide me to Emily. And I was just like, and I'm like with this little bootlet, this whole like squishmallow theory. I'm just like, I don't know about that, Aaron. I don't think John knows who the mole is.
And let's also be crystal clear here. At the final five, we all had final twos with everybody at that point.
Pretty much.
But yeah, the only exception was you and Josh, and I tried to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. I really thought that Josh was gonna go home at this final five.
I'm shocked. Like, you want to talk about bad luck, like, or good luck. The fact that he was all on me since Danny Brienne and made it to the final four is amazing.
I mean, was there a second challenge that final five? I can't remember.
At final five, yes. That was when we got to do the secret handshake where
The advantage auction.
yeah, where Emily quoted in the YouTube chat, "Hey, when did you have time to learn the secret handshake?" And
And
then
then you did
proceeds
it.
to watch me do the secret handshake with Emily. And she's like, "When did I have time to learn the secret handshake?"
Okay, that was fun. And I also really sucked at the secret handshake. It took an attempt or two.
But yeah, that was fun. Like I liked that challenge too because I liked my confessional there. Like, first of all, props to Aaron for being able to take a sentence and make it a page long because I'm always like, I'm doing this, thank you. And Aaron's like, let me walk you through every decision I'm making before I take these books. And I'm taking exemption. I'm like, from the great philosopher Josh, never turn down a free exemption. But
I
yeah,
mean, I tried to think like I tried to game like what would Josh think I do. Then Josh just predicted what I would do. I was like, oh, I'm not smart savvy enough to outsmart him.
so fun fact. Had I taken nothing like Josh predicted, we would have won money that challenge.
So close, and Emma with the exemption wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, but then the next question is though, Josh is like thinking I'm the mole. So if I take nothing and we win money there, I just don't know what that does to his brain. Like,
I think he just go. I think he just stays the course. I think he's mentioned like it was just too late to do anything.
yeah, but I'm like, but no, I was definitely like, I'm going for the exemption. I'm going to make everyone think I want these stupid journals. And if someone else goes for the exemption, who cares? It's out of the game. Best case scenario, I get an exemption.
I'm exempt.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, no one's exempt. Perfect.
Oh yeah, and like I wish I'd gone for the journals, but like I just thought like they wouldn't be helpful.
Yeah. And Aaron keeps saying how helpful they were. And I keep thinking, yes, you got eliminated. Like,
well, to be fair, he said Lachey drew like Aaron and Emily as the mole in giant letters. I'm like,
well, you know that happened after, right?
Oh,
Though, so after Lachey was eliminated, they knew that someone's getting the journals, so she wrote that in there to cue off whoever got the journals.
oh, I did not know that.
But what gets really interesting is if I'm a player, I don't know that. And so I open it up and I see Emily as the mole circled. I now
like,
think Emily's not the mole.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's what's just like I was like, I could deny it just because I don't know. Because at this point, like, I think Emily's the mole. Like, I don't want anyone else to get this accidental information. But I was like, someone else could be going all in this round. Having some jokers and insurance sounds pretty nice.
And jokers don't correct, right?
It's just a +1.
So your 19 was really a 16?
No, it was a 19 plus 3.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I wondered.
I wonder if the challenge goes set up where if Josh predicted, anyone who Josh predicted right, he got their thing instead. Because I think it'd be perfect to get everything right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would have been nicer if they say, hey, any guesses you make right, you get it, and scare people therefore to take nothing, that deny Josh advantages.
Yeah, that would be the way to do it. But like Aaron, and again, no disrespect to Aaron, but he kept saying, "Oh, these girls are helpful. Joe's and Brienne's are really helpful." And I'm like, and then you got eliminated for reading them.
Well, Aaron, I think just like saying stuff, like he just comes like everything has changed. I'm just like, really? I was like, I don't know what to make of this.
The only way that everything will be changed is if everybody's top mole suspects included everybody but Emily, and then you're like, huh. But again, like I wasn't using my journal as a diary. I wasn't writing, dear diary, even is the mole. Mm-hmm. Here is why. No, I was like,
let's say you get eliminated, right? If you're eliminated, you have your charts in there of how you answered each round, right? That's really helpful. That's ideal.
But you got to remember, it wasn't everybody that was writing down what questions that they had from the quiz and what they got right and what they got wrong. Like, so for me, again, mental memory in terms of conversation, I can remember a conversation I had. I couldn't tell you what the questions were, but I could tell you how many I did for each. And when you all would get together and discuss questions, I was like, well, if I join this, I'm going to come off a little bit more ignorant than I am. And I kind of want to keep the Luke is smarter than he looks premise going. And it just, so if you look at my journal, all you would have saw as an eliminated player is everyone's dossier just listed who I thought it was at the end, writing their stuff. And then again, if you had taken my dossier after Aaron's elimination, you would have saw everybody's other than my own. And going back to Josh of it all, like Josh barely had anything in his journal. We all saw it. We all went through it. And
still feel bad.
Well, you leave it on your seat at the Mexican restaurant. He was taking about as many notes as you would if you were the mole. Like, I don't need to remember this. Yeah. And I love how Emily's like, I was up staying to 3 a.m. I'm like, okay.
So if you were the mole, I wonder how correct Josh would have been in that final quiz.
I wonder that too. But the thing is, if I were the mole, I think Joe's still in the game there.
Yeah.
And so
it's a whole different game.
Yeah, I think Aaron's eliminated with an A. And I think Joe is still in there. And so what does that look like? I don't know.
I don't know, because you probably would have made some different decisions had you been the mole. You would have been playing a bit differently, anyways.
Yeah, definitely. So. And I have an idea of how I would play if I'm the mole, but I also think my out there personality, it's really hard to cast me as the mole. So we'll see.
One
of my least favorite things is after these games, they're always like, "Oh, here's the people we thought we'd cast as the mole," and they name everyone but you, and then they're like, and then. Like, we thought about these 5 other people, but you weren't a consideration. You're like, is that because I'm too good at being a player?
You're the most agent of the agents,
right? So after the journal thing, Aaron gets eliminated, and again, another behind the scenes fact that has yet to make an interview is they had told us that we were going to make finale. And so we all weren't sure if this was a single or double elimination. So while Aaron is sitting there shocked at his red and doing his, oh, I went all in on someone else, I changed my mind, Josh and I are both sitting there butt clenched, waiting to see what the next screen says.
I didn't even think about that because I just assumed like we'd have a full round before the finale, like we go from 4 to 3 and then finale at 3. I didn't even consider that being a double elimination round.
Yeah, so when they told us that this is the last elimination before finale, I think Josh even said out loud, like, oh, this is going to be a double. So Aaron gets eliminated, and I am not even paying attention to his, like, oh, I should have gone in on someone else, or I changed my mind. I'm sitting there like, next screen. I've gone in on Emily. Aaron just got eliminated. Is it Steven? I don't know how it could be Steven. Joe got eliminated. It's definitely not Josh. Josh is over there. I think I'm good. I think I'm right on Emily, but next screen. And then they go, and that's it. And we're like, oh, okay.
And so you finally went all in, and you're rewarded for it. The person is
Finally.
not going, right?
Well, and again, math, it's logic. I love the math and logic behind it. I was always rewarded for my all-in because I made it. But this time, it wasn't me going, and guess what? Emily got eliminated here. Because then I don't know what I would have done. If Emily had gotten eliminated there, I would have probably just looked at you
on Josh for the finale.
I would have looked at you and said, I slept with you. Like we were roommates. I would have looked at you and said that. And then I would have said Josh and goes, oh, you got me good. We've been tying for 0 this entire game, everybody. But also, and again, the metagame of it all. And I know that Tim was trying to avoid metagame, and everyone was suspecting a female mole last year. And so that way this year, you're like, it was all the pieces were going together. And like, I'm glad that Tim cut out some of my snarkiness, because one of the things I even said is Emily has been talking about this finale dress all week. Like, I can't wait to wear this finale dress. I hope I can wear this finale dress. Ooh, will I be able to wear this finale dress? And so, like, all the pieces were just, they had just landed.
Well, I mean, do you want to talk about the challenge before the final round table at all?
Oh, we can't talk about that challenge if you would like. And so, in hell, I had changed shirts because I was sweating through the other one. Because I had moved the fan from the rocking chair to over there where we were doing the challenge. And that was such glitchy internet. Fun idea, but such glitchy internet. So it was literally like you all would be, and I'd be like, turn around, Josh, keep turning around. And then all of a sudden, nope, don't turn around, Josh. And I think I did okay, like saying like throw the ball, they're telling me to throw the ball, drink the vinegar. Emily's friend's wrong, there's another one that was interesting, is that I got Emily's friend wrong when we were separated in the different sections. So Emily was confident of a change that wasn't a change, which if Emily had not been the mole, would have really put the sus on me, which would have been really cool. But I also tried to be the one that talks too much. Like, they're like, who talks too much? I'm like, it's me. And Emily's like, it's me. And I'm like, girl, where you been these last 4 days? Like, I'm the one that doesn't shut up. I'm the one talking in my sleep saying, Emily's the mole. And Steven's still like, I don't know. Like, I'm the one that's going on and on and on. And you're up there and you're like, oh, I'm the talker. But again, Emily's the mole. Who cares? Let's just have fun. I'll do whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that challenge is fun.
To say, Steven. I have some things to say. I've been watching this podcast as an adamant viewer, and you have been quite critical of my divide this room into 4 strategy. That you have been on now 2 podcasts stating this.
Well, okay, so here's the problem. So Emily and I are the ones who can see the room.
Right? But did we know this before you went in?
We didn't. We did not know. So I think what your strategy was sound until we learned, oh, wait, we're being divided in a way that I now have to see a room through a camera. And it's
awkward when you're confronted, isn't it? Because what you've been saying on this podcast is Luke's strategy was stupid from the get-go, and now you're just like backpedaling. But go ahead.
Your strategy what turned out to be destructive, but it wasn't initially so.
Oh yeah, it was terrible strategy. But again, for our viewers at home, there is so much in that pool room that even if we all had sight and we all went back into that room and we had to find the 10 differences, I don't think we get that brush. Yeah. That first brush he turns over and he's like, oh, there. I don't think we get that if all 4 of us were in the room and they're like, okay, now you all have sight, go figure it out.
I mean, I was so focused on like, we need to figure out how many cue balls are in which pocket, which pockets, and like.
And I was worried, like, if we had to know the snicker grid of that candy battleship thing, I was like, will that come up if they should change one of those from Snickers to this? I thought I had the shelves memorized, but in retrospect, even after staring at them the whole time, I don't think I would have gotten all three of those.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so put the blindfold on Josh, have me go upstairs and watch you two dance to glitching. I think we were set up for failure to begin with.
The fact we got anything made me happy.
Yeah. So, no, fun challenge, but no, we weren't getting. So, even though Luke's ridiculously planned out quarter strategy that has been the ire of this podcast, which stopped you from getting $267.
I wanted to break the record, darn it.
And instead got a mere $237 or whatever it was.
I had to pay back $8.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. But yeah, I was like, whatever. This is fun at this point. And I think that was ultimately my goal in the mall in the first place, is to have fun. And that's what I was doing.
And so the final round table, you see the dress.
Oh, no. Before that, there are two very important events that happen.
Okay.
Number one, Josh and I have kissed and baked up. We have decided now, Josh is like, Luke, can you help me study? And I'm like, yes, Josh, I will help you study, because I'm not going to study with Steven anymore, because Steven thinks Emily's the mole, and I think Emily's the mole, and I just don't want to. So I'm like, I'll go. So Josh and I locked ourselves in a room, and actually, for the first time in 4 days, had gotten back to being like perfect, like alliance members. And I was going through the whole entire game, going over my Emily notes and emphasizing all the Steven things to Josh. Like, and Steven was here. And did you not notice that Steven, Emily, and I were a coalition from the minute we got into this car till we were on the couch, till we were at the Mexican restaurant, till we were sitting with each other at the restaurant? Did you not catch that the three of us were inseparable this entire game? Like, that's why Emily's still here, is because between me, Steven, and Emily, we were always in the same group. Like, I was really laying it on to Josh. And then we go upstairs and we have the Taco Bell, where I finally have a moment to sit down, and Trish comes up and like, we gotta do confessionals and we're going. And I think I had my confessional is Emily has been downstairs doing her makeup, putting on her dress, getting ready for this entire big reveal, and the three of us are all upstairs studying. I wonder who the mole is.
Yeah, I mean, that's because I'm wearing, I changed the jeans and the polo. You and Josh are kind of still casual, and Emily's in the stunning dress. I'm like, oh, yeah, she prepared.
Yeah, well, for the record, I asked him. I had a shirt and tie, but it was so damn hot in that fourth floor that I already sweat through one of my shirts that day. So I was like, can I just put on my holy moly other one? It's your game. I looked at him. I said, it's your game. If you want me in a nice shirt, I will go put on a nice shirt. But he's like, no, you can wear that. So I did ask him for permission, but I was like, I was boiling.
I did not pack my suit and tie because it takes up too much suitcase room. The dress shoes are just too large.
That was like, that is just too hot. I was hot. I had just had Taco Bell. My pants were not going to be in the mood for any type of tightness there. And so we had to go downstairs and talk to the great mole about, we had to first do that card challenge. Any surprises for you in that card challenge?
That we didn't lose money every round.
Right?
I was like, oh, this is just not going to go well. I heard the challenge. Like, this is really hard.
Okay, so that's number one. Number two is how all three of you got terrible, evil questions, and I got, who do you like the most?
It's like, I think mine was like, who deserved to lose. I'm just like,
yeah.
I was like, sorry, I'm gonna put some names down here. Don't take it personally.
If you're going to kill someone, which of the players would you kill? Luke, if you could buy candy for someone, which of the players would you buy candy for? But again, I do think it's a testament, like, again, coalitions, no coalitions, to who was close to who in the game and those things. Like, Emily was close to Noah, but Emily's also trying to be molish and throw things on Noah. I was close to Danny, a lot closer than probably, it looked like a lot of other people were close to Danny. So, like, who do you get along with best? Danny. Who do I get along with best? Joe. We had a really great date, but if Joe and I hadn't had that date, it might have even just been Steven there. Like, but you weren't an option.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Sorry.
But yeah, so I thought it was really interesting that we got money at all. And the person to get us money was Josh. Yeah. Because I'm like, here we are throwing more money out. Yeah. And then we have to make our pleas.
I was when I heard I had to make a plea of why I was or was not the mole, I'm just like, oh, this feels like giving too much up because I had no idea what everyone else was thinking at this point. So I was like, I kind of knew what I wanted to say for the why I am the mole, but the not the mole, I'm like, I don't know, I'm here.
Well, and the only move I had that entire last day was to try to bluff you at that final round table.
Yeah.
And that's the only move I had. And because I didn't know that you were scoring higher than me on quizzes, for the record. But I knew you and I were both on the same page. And the only way that I could ensure that I won is if you in any way still thought I was the mole and we're splitting. And so I was like, give it your all at this round table on why you aren't the mole and why you are the mole. Make it so you're like, yeah. So like that whole gain trust the first 2 rounds and the whole, yeah, I did the very obvious sabotage that I can talk about till death about how I gaslit Josh. And I almost wonder if in retrospect, had I brought up mini golf then, if I had said, oh, one thing that no one knows about this game is that Brienne and I completely sabotaged this mini golf because that's something only Brienne and I knew. And that information never spread, that I almost go, if I had, but that I would have been convincing. I don't think I would have been convincing in that lie as honest as I was about the sabotage of the Frida Kahlo painting, the Halle Berry painting. Yeah. That I just felt like that was going to be more genuine honesty from me versus the other one was going to be complete fabrication. So if I had any chance of you splitting, I had to just go all in on what was true.
I think it was hard because Emily really lays out her case. I'm just saying, there's like, okay, I'm sold.
Yeah, and for the record, also a little rehearsed from Emily. No, and that also gave it to me as she is the mole. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think I walked into that challenge like, let's be nice. I was like 85 to 90% sure, as Emily was like, I'm going all in her anyways, but like there's still that doubt. And then I walked out saying, I have no doubt.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. The only thing is you're a little, well, I'll tell you more in about 5 minutes. And that kind of got me. And so I sat there. So I sat there for like 3 seconds and then I went back to the Joe of it all and I went, it's not Steven. Like,
Joe, just dirty.
Yeah, I'm just like, stop going down this road. And so then we go take the quiz, and there were a couple questions that I know I didn't know. Now, I had a 1 in 4 chance.
1 in 3.
But Luke Slodge, this game, he killed the odds on the Joe, the Aaron, the Riley. That like Luke had killed the odds all game. Might as well not kill it at the end here. And I just remember sitting in the pool room. So I don't think this has been brought up on the podcast. So what they do after we take this quiz is we are escorted to our own little room. And they keep us in this room forever while Tim tabulates the quiz. So here we are just sitting in the rooms going, did I do this? Did I put this question? Did I do that question? I think I have this question right, blah, blah, blah. And in the past mole seasons, you get here's the winner. So Rachel comes and knocks on my door and it's like, okay, they need you downstairs now. And I'm like, because when Rachel goes, and I go, oh, she needs downstairs. So I go, I thought I had it. And so then we go downstairs. We walk by the contestants as well. And Danny's like waving at me because I said she was most happy to get along with. And so she was just happy to say hi. And so we walk by. We go into the pool room. And then they have us all sitting in the pool room while they're tabulating. And I remember just sitting there and I just go, I'm content. And Trish goes, no talking.
Yes.
And I thought that was hilarious. And then they line us up at the door and they say, we're going to check message the winner on their phone. That's what they tell us. They don't tell us that the viewers are going to see, like, we're all just sitting in the pool room hanging out on our phone. Luke's looking as interested in this as he did about joining in the alliance with Josh at the beginning of the game, staring at the phone. Where, in fact, I'm just reloading Instagram. And so this is one of my favorite moments. See if I can mimic this. They go, when I text the winner, you are to not make a noise and go to the door. And you go. It was so.
I followed directions.
It was so militant. Like if it had been me, I would have turned to you and hugged you, hugged Emily, hugged Josh, and walked out. You were like,
I would like to say that I was just surprised and shocked that I just did what I was told to do. I don't know.
but it was great. And so you walk out, everyone cheers, and Josh turns to me and goes, and I'm looking at Emily, and I go, and Emily's going, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, what are you sorry for?
Yeah.
We just played a game for 4 days. Like, my feelings aren't hurt. This isn't Squid Game, the challenge, where we have to cry every time something happens. I'm like, I'm not mad. I think it's actually kind of poetic that me and Josh, after these 4 days of roller coaster between the two of us and many good TV moments, are walking out together hand in hand as the runners up. I thought it was really poetic. I thought it was really awesome that I got to do it with Josh, and that the fact that I got to make a really good friend out of it. I mean, I don't know how many people you gaslight and are completely terrible to that can come out of the game and you go, oh, this is like the best friend I've met ever. You know, like I talk to Josh weekly, like he's great. And the fact that we got to end there, you know.
I have done that to a person, made a friend out of it too. So you're not alone in this method.
Shout out to Jamie. But
Sorry, Jamie.
But yeah, so it was just really poetic that me and Josh got to be runners up together. I was really thrilled of the 38 to 33, because if that had been 38 to 37 or 38 based on time, then we would be having a very different conversation right now.
Yes, that would be heartbroken. You would be like heartbroken at that point.
Yeah, I would be like, oh no, what did I miss? But oh, why didn't I do this one thing? And the only reason I can even come up with regrets in the game is just because of conversations after of, oh, I would have thought this about you had you done this. And you're like, ah, then I shouldn't have done that. I should have done that. Why didn't you just tell me then that you would have thought I was a mole if I did that and I would have done it, you know? Like, but no, in the moment, like in the drive home, I was completely content. I wasn't upset at the game at all. I was happy I got to the end. I got happy I experienced it. Biggest regret I have, and I think you expressed the same one in this podcast, is that we didn't get to hang out with all the eliminated players. And
Yeah.
fun fact, I had to be in Minnesota on Wednesday for Live to Give, and I went back to school the following Monday. So I had to leave.
You had a wild schedule, man.
Yeah, I had to leave that night to go home to prepare for class. So I couldn't even just stay that night and chill. And so I just missed that time. So all the debriefing's been through DMs and group chats and acting all shocked when Danny and Brienne got eliminated and been like, oh yeah, that was so shocking. Didn't see that, like having those conversations. So that's the thing I miss, is that I didn't get to have the one, all of us sitting around the table, just chilling. So yeah.
Yeah, it's hard, right? It's like,
right.
And it's like I'm glad so many players stuck around. So there was that kind of after it show. I really appreciate that there were people after the game that just kind of chat and hang out with for a couple of hours. We were kind of wrapping things up. But it's like, you know, one of the experiences I love when I do get eliminated in games is just the get to know people and hang out and have fun. And like we had a lot of fun. We were just in our book studying fun.
Yeah, it's like I told Brienne, like day one, I'm like, oh, we can get a drink when we're both eliminated. We'll just go down to this bar over here. And never got eliminated. Like,
yeah.
So Danny was looking forward to having a drink. I'm like, sorry, never got eliminated.
Well, any final thoughts or anything else that you want to talk about as we wrap up here?
Obviously, you and I could talk for hours. We just did 2.5, and I barely think I touched the surface of everything that happened in 4 days. Though I do want to thank everyone that's actually suffered through this podcast all the way to this moment. Thank production. Tim, you just very, very great job editing that. Rachel, John are wonderful. Rachel, one of my online OG org friends. But John, I really think, Tim, you just really killed the way this whole show is edited. I think it's probably one of the best edited mole games out there. And I recommend that everybody play. And since Steven didn't ask, a couple shout outs. If you want to play Survivor and you are looking for a game, there's 2 that I'm involved with. One is Survivor Indiana, and we usually open up casting in February for usually a September game. And former the Ohio Mole player Aaron ended up winning that game last summer. Spoilers, but we don't film it. And then Live to Give in Minnesota, a big charity event. It does happen annually every July. They are currently casting, but it doesn't matter who they cast. Support charity. It's really the important part of the game. There is being able to give all that money to charity. And every year we're able to raise $60,000, $70,000 to various charities and all of the Survivor thing. And you can currently watch the current season as it airs on YouTube currently. I held the camera.
Luke, thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This has been another episode of Library Game Podcast. We have probably 2 more mole podcasts left. Coming up next, hopefully the next week or so, we'll have the mole herself, Queen Emily, to share everything she did and more and all her thoughts. So get excited for that.
And then in 2 weeks, I'll be interviewing Steven as he explains how he won the mole and all of his thoughts. And we will have the exact same podcast in reverse.
I am here for it. I am very excited for being interviewed. It'll be fun. I can't wait. Though, let's just make sure we time it around Thanksgiving properly. That's all we have to do for that one.
Alrighty. Well,
all right.
Thanks, everybody. Rooting for you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye.